You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2458, Chapter 2458, Chapter 530 Women You Can't Afford to Offend. 3. Chapter 2458, Chapter 530 Women You Can't Afford to Offend. 3. They were hoping that this alliance could last for a longer period of time. But now, it seemed like it couldn't be maintained. And just as they were thinking, the Tao King's voice suddenly sounded, "Hand over Su Yu and the immortal alliance will be stable. This is my idea and also the Emperor's idea. Everyone, think about it." The Tao King looked at each other across the sky with a faint smile on his face. It was very difficult for the 10,000 races to find Su Yu. If they were in the ancient city, it would be even harder to deal with him. However, the human race could hand over Su Yu. This was because the human race had a lot to do with Su Yu. His father was in the human race, his teacher was in the human race, and his friends were in the human race. Sometimes, Su Yu would secretly meet with Lu Wenyan and the others. The human race probably knew about it. For example, the last time he went to see Lu Wenyan and the others, the great Qin king and the others probably knew about it. However, they didn't care. If they really wanted to capture Su Yu, the human race had a great chance. Just as the Tao King finished speaking, his expression suddenly changed. At this moment, an incomparably huge ancient city suddenly descended. In the sky above the ancient city, someone laughed loudly and said, "Everyone didn't wait for me and just casually opened up the inner regions. Are you looking down on the sacred city alliance?" In the sky, a person appeared. His white clothes were as white as snow. A throne floated in the air. It was Su Yu. Su Yu's face was slightly pale. The aura of death permeated the air as he looked in all directions. In the next moment, ancient cities descended one after another. The entire world was filled with ancient cities. Su Yu smiled faintly. "Do you all think that I'm dead, or do you still think that the Sacred City Alliance is inferior?" The Tao King's gaze changed as divine light erupted from his eyes as he looked at the other party. At this moment, the giant eye in his hand also swept over. However, the ancient city was filled with the aura of death, and these people didn't dare to invade the ancient city to avoid a big battle. At this moment, invincible figures appeared one after another. They all looked at the rumored heavily injured Su Yu who was on the verge of death. Their auras were slightly messy, but it seemed like they had recovered quite a bit. In the air, the person who was disguised as Su Yu was Lu Hong. Lu Hong's eyes carried a hint of a smile, a hint of unruliness, and a hint of disdain as he looked around. With a faint smile, he said, "Why? I'm still alive. Are all of you very afraid? Just now, there seemed to be a great battle about to break out here. Why didn't it continue?" Tao King looked at him and said indifferently, "I haven't settled the matter of you casting the evil weapon with you, yet you still dare to appear." Lu Hong smiled and said playfully, "Tao King, don't play this game with me. You grandson and that old B*****starred Tingu, if you want to kill me, then be straightforward. Come, I'll wait for you to kill me. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm afraid. You won't dare. Impudent." Tao King shouted coldly, causing the void to tremble. Powerful sound waves shook the surroundings. And at that moment, Yuan Qi erupted in the sky above the ancient city and instantly pressed down on Lu Hong. Lu Hong was scared out of his wits, but he said with a sneer, "How dare you? It seems that the immortals are really going to fight to the death with our Sacred City Alliance. How dare you attack me? Sir, please attack." Just as he said that, a fist smashed towards the immortals with a boom. At the next moment, a stone sculpture tore through the sky and tore apart the void. It was extremely cold. "Audacious immortals, you are courting death." Boom! A huge battle instantly erupted in the void. The Tao King and Xing Hong exchanged more than 10 blows in the blink of an eye. The Tao King was sent flying with a bang and coughed out blood. On the immortal side, 3 more immortal kings floated in the air. Xing Hong was cold as he punched out one punch after another, shattering the void. In the next moment, Xing Hong shouted coldly, "Immortal, you all want to start a war with us." In the void, the illusory figures of stone statues appeared one after another. Behind him, the Tao King coughed up blood. He didn't say anything but looked around. Was it Su Yu in the city? Was Su Yu outside the city? Xing Hong's attack didn't mean that Su Yu was definitely in the city. Perhaps he was outside the city. The giant eye in his hand was also quickly scanning the surroundings. Soon, the ancient voice of heaven came from the Tao King's ear, "No one can withstand the aura of death." When Xing Hong made his move, there would definitely be a lot of aura of death. Even if Su Yu had a way to deal with it, at this moment, with a group of invincible people, including the 2 half-emperors, watching them, it would be difficult for the other party to hide from them. At this moment, no matter whether it was the human camp or the small fries in the outer area, no one had the aura of death overflowing. What did this mean? It meant that Su Yu was not among these people. As for Su Yu in the city, it could be true. Of course, they could not casually investigate the ancient city, so it was hard to tell whether it was true or not. But one thing was certain, Su Yu was not among the people outside the city. At the very least, Su Yu was not within a radius of 100 miles. That meant that their previous judgment had been wrong. Su Yu might have sensed some danger and did not choose to disguise himself. In the ancient city of Xinghong. At the city lord's mansion. Master Bap's face was a little pale. His young aperture was constantly absorbing the death chi, which was depleting the life chi in his yang aperture. Every moment that Xinghong left the city, it caused a large amount of death chi to pour into him. Indeed, it was not Su Yu who was enduring the death chi, but Master Bai. However, Xinghong could not leave the city for too long. If it was too long, he would not be able to hold on. He was different from Su Yu. Su Yu's young aperture was absorbing the death aura, but it was only a side effect. The main thing was to reverse it. He could not do it, so he could only rely on his young aperture to resolve it. Patriarch Bai looked up at Lu Hong and cursed in his heart. "Are you done pretending?" "I'm done pretending, come down. You can just say a few words, but I can't. Xing Hong will leave the city for at most an hour. You must give him time to calm down, or the death aura will definitely kill him." In the air. Lu Hong narrowed his eyes, he laughed and said, "Lord Xing Hong, don't be angry. The immortals are very powerful. There's also that old half-emperor Tian Gu. He's so powerful. Why would he be afraid of us? Lord Tian Gu is so powerful that even the divine emperor and the demon emperor have to look at him, let alone us. Back then, the heavenly ancient sect helped the human race. With a single sentence, the gods and demons repelled the changes. They didn't dare to provoke the human race in the slightest. Now that Lord Tian Gu has spoken, the gods, demons, and abyss dragons have to listen to him. If he wants to kill us, Lord, we only have 3 half-emperors. 35 of us are invincible. We're no match for the alliance led by the immortals. There are many lackeys. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2459, Chapter 2459, Chapter 530 Women You Can't Afford to Offend. 4. Chapter 2459, Chapter 530 Women You Can't Afford to Offend. 4. Tao King said faintly, "Su Yu, words are meaningless to sow discord. Killing you is not a decision made by the immortals. Do you know that you have committed an unforgivable crime? Anyone who brings about the rule of blood tribulation should be killed." Lu Hong said with a smile, "Oh, so scary. Dao King, come and try to kill me. I've never been killed by an invincible person in my entire life. Lord Dao King, come on, give me a punch, give me a palm. PM so scared. Oh, I'm scared to death. I'm so scared that I'm scared out of my wits. What a slut. Even though Dao King had achieved Dao for countless years, at this moment, his mood was slightly shaken. As for Xing Hong, he snorted coldly and entered the city. Lu Hong looked at the immortals with a playful expression. He looked at the Dao King and then at the other races. He said with a smile, everyone, why do you need to do this? Why don't we do this? When I start a war with the immortals, PLL cripple the immortals. Then, you can come and take advantage of me. How about that? Don't worry. PM definitely not a match for the immortals, but I can still kill 8 or 10 of them. The immortals are so awesome. Let the immortals kill me. Why do you need to do this? At that moment, on the celestial side, the white-haired godly monarch frowned slightly and said indifferently, Su Yu, there's no need to sow discord. You took my things and gave them to me. This time, I won't find trouble with you again. Vessel. The white-haired godly monarch was suspicious. Where's my vessel? Why did it disappear? No, he couldn't sense any aura. Why? Although he couldn't enter the city to investigate, he had nurtured it for countless years. If he was here, he could more or less sense it. At this moment, Su Yu's true body, who was standing in the distance, felt a slight jolt in his heart. A vessel. The white-haired man suddenly mentioned this. There was something wrong with this thing. He had examined it for a long time, but he didn't find anything wrong with it. Could it be that the white-haired man had discovered something, or that this thing could allow him to sense it? It was over. Could Lu Hong deal with this? This was all considered an accident. Just as he was thinking, in the void, Lu Hong said with a faint smile, you want it back. I'm sorry. That thing looks like trash to me. I have too much and I don't lack it. I'll throw it into the dead soul realm and give it to my Star Moon sovereign. If you want it, that's fine. If you die, I'll let Lord Star Moon receive you. What do you think? I'll guarantee to return your things to you. All right? The dead soul world. The white-haired godly monarch's heart trembled slightly. Damn it, you threw my vessel into the dead soul world. Bastard. If that was the case, he would naturally not be able to sense it. Could it be that Su Yu, this madman, had really been thrown to the sovereign of the dead soul? This was a supreme treasure. How could he bear to do so? The white-haired godly monarch was still thinking. Lu Hong chuckled again and said, harmony breeds wealth. There's no need to target me like this. I didn't do anything to you, and I didn't kill your entire family. Don't force me. Also, does the quota from before still count? If it does, then let's have fun and play according to the rules. If it doesn't count, this time, everyone wants to enter the Starry Sky Manor to see if I'm happy or not. If I'm not happy, then don't play. If you don't believe me, you can try. At this moment, Lu Hong was thinking as he spoke. He knew what the white-haired godly king had given him. It seemed to be a carrier. Now that this was suddenly brought up, was there a problem with that vessel? Had Su Yu resolved it? Forget it, who cares? PM only in charge of acting. If Su Yu hasn't resolved it, then it's his own problem. It has nothing to do with me. Not to mention, pretending to be Su Yu felt pretty good. He cursed the half-emperor and invincible. He couldn't do anything to you. It was really not bad. Just as Lu Hong was thinking about this, the white-haired godly king suddenly sent a voice transmission, Dao King, Su Yu is carrying 3 cities. Just now, only Xing Hong left the city. Maybe it's because he was heavily injured and couldn't hold on, or maybe it's because of something else. you and I will work together to find a way to force out the master of the 3 cities and test him again. Dao King's eyes moved slightly, and he also sent a voice transmission. You suspect that there's something wrong with this Su Yu? No. It's just that. PM a little worried. If Su Yu really disguises himself to enter the Starry Mansion, he's someone with great luck. Once he obtains some great benefits, it'll be a big trouble. The two secretly discussed. Just now, only Xing Hong left the city. Was it because Su Yu was heavily injured and could not support the 3 stone sculptures to leave the city, or was there some other reason? Or, if one of the invincible statues left the city, Su Yu could still withstand it and not be exposed. But if the 3 statues left the city and the 3 powerful waves of death chi surged in, how could Su Yu not be exposed? The white-haired godly king only wanted to test it out. The key was that he had lost his vessel. If he had known that the immortals were going to kill Su Yu, he would not have sent the vessel. At that time, he was worried that Su Yu would go crazy and look for him. But now, if he wanted to look for it, he had to look for the immortals. Was his vessel really thrown into the dead soul realm? He was not too willing. The two of them instantly reached an agreement. Soon, the godly kings and immortal kings received their messages. Attack the city. Attack the 3 cities. Xing Hong, Yu Hong, and Yun Xiao. Even if Su Yu was fine, he might be able to kill him with the death aura in his heavily injured state. It would be best if the stone sculptures didn't leave the city. This meant that Su Yu's threat wasn't that great anymore. The stone sculptures that didn't leave the city didn't pose much of a threat. What was truly terrifying was that when the stone sculptures left the city, they could take the initiative to attack. This was a huge problem. In the next moment, the void trembled as numerous experts instantly attacked. They charged towards the 3 ancient cities in the sky. And right at this moment, the 3 stone sculptures instantly appeared and went out of the city to face the battle. In the distance, Su Yu's heart trembled slightly. Within the city, Old Master Bai's face instantly turned ashen. He could also bear the aura of death from the 3 cities. Su Yu and Yun Xiao had already agreed to assign Old Master Bai an ancient city position. However, that was something he would only do if he had no other choice. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2460, Chapter 2460, Chapter 530 Women You Can't Afford to Offend. 5. Chapter 2460, Chapter 530 Women You Can't Afford to Offend. 5. But now, it had just begun, and the 3 stone sculptures had already left the. Bearing the death aura of the 3 cities in one go, the old man's body instantly burst with the death aura. His face was extremely gloomy, and the life aura in his young aperture was almost half consumed in the blink of an eye. If this continued, let alone an hour, in 10 minutes, he might be swallowed by the death aura. In the air, Lu Hong's face instantly turned gloomy. He cursed in his heart. Xing Hong transferred a part of the death aura to him. Damn you, you should have told me in advance. It was over. The city lords of the 3 cities instantly appeared. They were in big trouble. The one from the Bai family could not hold on much longer. At this moment, the 3 stone statues were also very angry. At the same time, 9 invincible figures suddenly attacked them. Among them, the Dao King, the white-haired godly king, and the others were very powerful and were not much weaker than them. At this moment, they were all 3 against 1. In his fury, Xing Hong shouted, "The guardian of the holy city has descended." Boom! In the void, many phantoms appeared. In the blink of an eye, countless punches and kicks descended. This was a projection, and the original body could not leave the city. At this moment, the void was instantly destroyed. There was invincible bleeding. In the distance, Su Yu's face was filled with shock, and his expression was the same as the others. He was trembling, but in his heart, he was cursing wildly. How bold! Were these fellows really not afraid of the guards of the sacred city going crazy? At the same time, on the human side, the great Xia King's eyes flickered. He looked at the great Zhou King, and the great Zhou King frowned slightly. Don't be anxious, we. Just as he finished speaking, a blade light reflected the heaven and earth. With a buzz, it charged toward an invincible demon. At this moment, on the demon's side, Moj suddenly stood out and punched out, blocking the great Xia King. He calmly said, "The ancient city is fighting with them, why should the human race interfere?" He didn't want to interfere in these matters, but he couldn't let the human race take advantage of him. This was the bottom line. Therefore, no demon experts were going to besiege the ancient city, but he couldn't let the human race attack them either. This was the foundation of their alliance. Moj stood out. A moment later, the underworld race and the dragon race both had unrivaled experts standing out. They looked at the great Xia King and didn't say anything, but their attitude was clear. Besieging the ancient city had nothing to do with the human race. The human race shouldn't interfere. Otherwise, they would fight together. The great Xia King's eyes were dark and cold. He glanced at the unrivaled experts. He was stronger than them, but with 3 unrivaled experts attacking, even if he wanted to fight, he might not be able to win. Moreover, there was more than one unrivaled expert from these clans here. At this moment, the battle between the stone sculptures and those unrivaled experts had reached its peak. Die! Yun Xiao shouted angrily. Suddenly, the entire cloud sky ancient city turned into a long sword and disappeared from where it was. At the same time, a huge hole appeared. The expressions of Xing Hong and the others changed drastically. Yun Xiao was extremely furious. All of you are courting death. All the petrification on her body disappeared instantly. A huge black hole appeared where the cloud sky ancient city disappeared. Yun Xiao didn't care about this and held a long sword in her hand. The power of the long sword was extremely great as she slashed out. At this moment, this was the only sword in the heavenly battlefield. With a poochie sound, an immortal king's head was chopped off by her. Cloud Heaven's anger surged to the heavens. Provoking me? I'm not someone to be trifled with. And at this moment, the immortal kings and godly monarchs' expressions changed. It was not because of Cloud Heaven, but because of the death spirit sovereign in the black hole. He had some surprise, some joy, and some madness as he laughed maniacally. Instantly, he flew out of the cave. The seal had been lifted. This crazy woman, Yun Xiao, had actually lifted the seal. He, Flame Demon, had come out. He wasn't the only one who had come out. At that moment, countless dead spirits surged out. In the ancient cities, countless sovereign of the dead spirit roared, quickly go to Yun Xiao's passageway." This madman, Yun Xiao, had opened the passageway. Clearly, she had been provoked. At this moment, everyone's expressions changed. On the demon side, they were somewhat surprised and pleasantly surprised. The flame demon had come out. There was no need to receive him anymore. He had come out directly. How dare you? At this moment, the color of heaven and earth changed. An ancient city instantly descended, and with a boom, the passageway beneath Yunxiao ancient city was instantly suppressed. The flame demon, who had just come out, was instantly crushed into pieces. At this moment, primordial chaos ancient city had descended. The old turtle's figure appeared, and he looked somewhat furious. He glanced at the clouds, then at the other invincible existences. He was incomparably furious, and an enormous turtle shell instantly appeared in his hand, and he smashed it toward the Tao King. The Tao King's expression changed drastically, and the enormous eye in his hand instantly erupted with light. Boom! The enormous eye was smashed into pieces. Not only that, the turtle shell directly smashed down, smashing the Tao King's body into pieces. The Tao King was just about to recover his body when, with a rumbling sound, the great Tao disintegrated, and the void shattered into pieces. The Tao King roared, and his body recovered and was smashed into pieces again. Emperor. At this moment, the void trembled, and the ancient heavenly voice rang out, "Brother Hong Meng, it's all a misunderstanding." The old turtle ignored him and berated, "How dare you, Yun Xiao? Return and seal the gate." Yun Xiao's face was tilled with unwillingness. With a snort, the long sword in his hand instantly transformed into an ancient city and descended once again. After the old turtle left, with a rumble, it suppressed the passageway. His original body also returned to the ancient city and turned into a stone statue. And at this moment, the gigantic primordial Mongol city suddenly tore through the void and flew towards the northern warzone. Rumble. In the next moment, everyone saw a shocking scene. Your gigantic ancient city crazily attacked the entire barrier of the immortal realm. Rumble. Numerous immortal kings appeared, but they were all suppressed by the ancient city. Boom. 3 immortal kings were directly crushed. The huge old turtle's true body appeared and covered the entire immortal realm. He said angrily, "How dare you? Bastard! Tian Gu, others don't know, but you, the immortal race, don't know. If you want to die, I'll grant your wish." The old turtle, who had always been calm, was now filled with boundless rage. Rumble. The huge ancient city continuously attacked the entire immortal realm. The walls of the immortal realm trembled, and the expressions of the immortal kings changed drastically. At that moment, the entire outer wall of the immortal world was filled with the aura of death. The furious old turtle continued to attack time and time again. The projection of half-emperors appeared above each of the great worlds. In the immortal world, the divine emperor's expression changed. His voice quickly appeared in the white-haired divine king's mind. "Retreat, quickly." It was over. He had angered the old turtle. Actually, it wasn't that bad. More importantly, Yun Xiao, that lunatic, had actually broken the rules. She had directly pulled out the ancient city, turned it into a weapon, and opened up the passageway. Wasn't this crazy woman afraid of being killed? Just as he was thinking, blood-colored clouds gathered in the sky, gathering toward the sky above Cloud Sky ancient city. The blood-colored lightning tribulation appeared. Yun Xiao raised his head to look at the sky, snorted, and said angrily, "I was bullied by others. With your rules, how could you not punish those bastards? You can only bully us. We were careful and conscientious, suppressing the 10,000 worlds for 100,000 years, and this is the result." The lightning tribulation became stronger and stronger. It was as if it wanted to kill Yun Xiao. At this moment, the old turtle was extremely furious. "Tian Gu, attack and break the rules with me. Otherwise, today will be the day we give up defending and destroy the world." Rumble. The stone statues gradually solidified. Xing Hong was also extremely furious. He shouted, "Open the tunnel and kill. Kill him and turn the world upside down. The power of rules dares to kill Yun Xia. Today, we have turned the world upside down." The surroundings were extremely quiet at this moment. The hearts of the experts throbbed as a sense of danger enveloped everyone. Danger. Very dangerous. If the 36 guardians really opened up the ancient city, even if they were killed by the laws, the others would still be unlucky. At this moment, Tian Gu's voice sounded, "Join hands and destroy the lightning tribulation." Tian Gu also cursed in his heart. Yun Xia, this crazy woman, had gone mad. If Yun Xiao was really killed by the lightning tribulation, then a bloody battle would break out in the myriad realms today. The bloody battle might not be fought by the guards, but by countless dead souls. This was big trouble. This was the first time that a guard had left his post without permission and directly opened the passageway. It was also at this moment that Tian-gu suddenly realized that these fellows. Did they have tempers? Yun Zhao's temper was exceptionally great. He had been held back until he had gone mad. Now that he had been beaten up, he had directly let go of the tunnel. This was asking for his life. Humph. Old Turtle Hong Meng snorted coldly. The ancient city instantly left. At that moment, half-emperors from the 7 to 8 great worlds stretched out their arms and charged towards the lightning tribulation. Old Turtle also returned in an instant. He rode the ancient city and crashed into the lightning tribulation. Must destroy this calamity. Otherwise, the cloud must die. Desertion, no, this is dereliction of duty, will die. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2461, Chapter 2461, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood L. Chapter 2461, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood L. In the endless void, huge hands appeared and charged towards the thunder tribulation that was continuously gathering. This rule had to be broken. Otherwise, once Yun Shao died, the guards would riot, the dead soul's realm would appear, and the myriad realms would fall into chaos. And in the ancient city, Yun Shao was arrogant. He raised his head to look at the sky and refused to submit. On what basis? Why could others hit me but I couldn't retaliate? I have guarded the passage for 100,000 years. With the passage of time, I have become a living dead. I only did my duty in the past. Now, why should I be punished? I refuse to accept it. Yun Shao straightened her neck and shouted angrily, "Boss, don't interfere. I want to see if this rule can kill me or not. I have guarded the passage for 100,000 years. I have contributed, but I am not a sinner." Not a sinner. She was not convinced, nor was she indignant. The old turtle ignored her. The rules were merciless, so how could they care about your merits and faults? At this moment, the huge palm prince slapped toward the thunder tribulation. Rumble. The sky and earth changed color, and the void split open. The thunder tribulation spread toward the huge palm. It was extremely powerful, getting stronger, and countless powers of the rules surged out. The outsiders interfered. This did not work, the rules did not allow it. The lightning tribulations extended towards the huge hands one after another. They were incomparably powerful, and the violent lightning tribulations cleaved through the void, heading towards the immortal realm, the divine realm, the underworld realm, the dragon realm, the demon realm, the spirit realm. The laws could restrict this era, and not just one person. Anyone who didn't abide by the laws had to be killed. Even if the other party was a half-emperor. Above Cloud Sky Ancient City, the old turtle was also interfering. His true body recovered, and an incomparably huge tortoise appeared. Boom! The lightning tribulation descended. The powerful blood lightning struck the old turtle's shell, shooting out streaks of fire. The old turtle was extremely furious. He roared through the world, "Do you still want to protect yourselves? If Cloud Sky dies, the difficulties of all races begin today. The difficulties of the death spirit world. The difficulties of defending. If Cloud Sky was struck to death today, the old turtle would make these fellows pay the price." The void churned and streams of time appeared one after another. Half-emperor phantoms appeared one after another. They did not attack from across space. Time and space were broken and the auras of the experts suppressed the heaven and earth. Bang! The lightning tribulation descended and the experts swiftly attacked. Not only that, many weapons appeared at this moment. Their auras were also extremely powerful. Many golden patterns interweaved on those weapons. There were more than 140 golden patterns. They were solid golden patterns. They were all peak heavenly weapons. At this moment, Old Tortoise once again angrily shouted, "Great Qin King, attack! Heavenly Abyss, Immemorial, Five Elements, Phoenix, do you ancient clans want to just stand by and watch?" At this moment, numerous incomparably powerful figures appeared in the ancient world. Some people were helpless, while others cursed, "What the hell? Do you have nothing better to do? Why did you have to provoke the guards of the ancient city? You must be crazy." Now, all of them were wilted and afraid. Yun Shao was killed by the lightning tribulation. "Let's see how you play." At this moment, the projection of the heavenly ancient immortal emperor arrived, and the coffin that accompanied him also suppressed the entire void. Suddenly, heavenly ancient said, "If Yun Shao dies, an immortal king of the immortal race will come to guard him. You deserve it." Old Turtle was furious. Suddenly, he stopped resisting the lightning tribulation and tore through the void, instantly appearing above the immortal realm. "Today, I will destroy your immortal realm, and kill all immortal kings of the immortal race." Boom! A huge boom once again resounded throughout the immortal realm, and the entire immortal realm trembled violently. Old Turtle directly rushed to the immortal realm passageway and smashed an immortal king's body into meat paste. He said angrily, "Today, I opened the undead passageway in your immortal realm. If you want to defend it, I'll grant your wish." "You want to defend it? I'll grant your wish." Old Turtle charged towards the immortal realm's passageway. At this moment, an ancient expert appeared in the immortal realm's passageway. It was Tian. Tian Gu was somewhat helpless. He sighed, "Brother Hong Meng, please calm." He was just saying that. He thought that if he was really going to be struck to death, he would let an immortal king go up. In the end, Hong Meng Turtle was furious. At this moment, on the other side of the immortal realm, the divine emperor shouted, "Enough! Hurry up and suppress the thunder tribulation." What was he doing? If he really struck Yun Shao to death, would the other guards agree? It was not as if they did not have intelligence. They were all living people and were all intelligent. They had guarded the passage together for 100,000 years. If one of them was killed, would it be enough for one of them to go up? What a joke! If they fought to the death with you, even if you killed them, you would still have to die dozens of invincibles. You would still have to go up to guard the passage. If you were to be invincible again, that would be great. All of a sudden, the 10,000 races would have lost hundreds of invincibles. Go and play with the immortals. Tian Gu, this fellow, was really old. He was so old that he was too ruthless in his thoughts. Yun Shao was not only a guardian, but also a member of the 36 guardians. His relationship with them was extraordinary. If one of them died, would the others agree? The old turtle snorted coldly again. He swept a cold glance at Tian Gu and exited the immortal realm passageway. He quickly disappeared and reappeared above Yun Shao ancient city. A lightning tribulation struck down, and it had already struck down one just now. It struck Yun Shao until he spat out blood. This could also be considered punishment. The old turtle was also helpless. This girl had actually opened up the passageway. This was something he hadn't expected. Even if he helped her, he still had to let Cloud Sky know the severity of it. He would really die. The rules weren't reversed. If he couldn't, if Cloud Sky couldn't, the myriad races in the heavens might be able to join hands to destroy it. However, it wouldn't be like this again and again. This time, it was the immortal race and the divine race who attacked the ancient city first. Only then would these fellows lend a hand. Otherwise, if the undead passageway was really broken, these fellows might not even lend a hand. Everything was because of the rules. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2462, Chapter 2462, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 2. Chapter 2462, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 2. As for the appearance of the undead, there was naturally a way to solve it, but it would require a huge price. Boom! The lightning tribulation struck once more, and at that moment, streams of River of Time appeared. Even the great Qin King controlled the River of Time and wielded his spear, participating in the battle between the 10,000 races and the laws. Of course, it wasn't the original body that came. Even so, with the experts joining in, the blood cloud was suppressed. However, the blood cloud was getting angrier and angrier, as if it wouldn't allow others to go against it. More and more laws appeared. In the air, Old Turtle shouted, "Get the orders from the 10,000 races representative. Hurry up and suppress the laws." Silence. Old Turtle was furious and roared, 99 ancient race representative tokens. I don't believe that I can't gather 50 of them. The Emperor of the Dead said coldly, Brother Hong Meng, the representative tokens aren't omnipotent. Using them once will consume a large amount of the power of laws. Old Turtle was no longer angry. He transformed into his human form and allowed the lightning to strike him. He looked around. At this moment, he regained his composure and said coldly. Not using them? All right then. From today onwards, the realm of the dead will open. Everyone, we have done our duty. Let's make this realm chaotic. At this moment, stone statues floated in the air, and their phantoms solidified. Tian Mie roared, Boss, what are you talking about? Let's kill them. F***ck. Is the Dao merge so great? Xing Hong, Yun Xiao, the three of us, let's kill one of them for fun. I've been impatient for a long time. At this moment, my true body soared into the air, and the Milky Way below was instantly covered by an aura of death. I cursed in my heart. Just as I was about to speak, I saw Heaven Extinguisher begin to pull toward the ancient city. The ancient city of Heaven Extinguisher gradually transformed into a gigantic iron rod. At this moment, a passageway was faintly discernible. In the void, the blood cloud instantly became 30% stronger. Heaven Extinguisher was a madman. Perhaps Old Turtle was trying to scare people, he wasn't. He was really going to pull out the city and fight. Heaven Extinguisher laughed loudly. I'm going to leave the city. Just you wait. Kill him and turn the world upside down. F***ck, I'm going to come out, I'm going to come out. Ha ha ha. He laughed crazily as the huge ancient city began to rise up from the ground. At this moment, blood-colored tokens appeared one after another from the ancient worlds. Each token could suppress the blood cloud a little bit. Gradually, 3 tokens, 5 tokens, 10 tokens. More and more tokens began to suppress the power of laws. As for Heaven Extinguisher, he was about to uproot the city when the Divine Emperor said coldly, Enough. Heaven Extinguisher, do you really want all the guards to be buried with you? One cloud was enough. Now, Heaven Extinguisher was also causing trouble. Heaven Extinguisher looked around and snorted. Suddenly, he uprooted the ancient city and turned it into a huge club. He instantly removed the petrification and struck the white-haired Divine King over there. This club was much more powerful than the previous stone sculptures. The white-haired godly king was just about to escape into the void when with a bang, the space was shattered and the long river of time and space was interrupted. His entire body collapsed and broke into pieces. With a strike of the club, Heaven Extinguisher instantly turned the huge club into an ancient city and suppressed the passage. He instantly returned to his original spot and turned into a stone sculpture. He sneered and said, I'll play with you guys. Do you really think that a level 7 Eternal Realm expert is qualified to play with me? If you don't accept it, then come at me. I won't beat you to death. If it doesn't work, then come at me, Ji Wu. When I proclaim my Tao, your ancestor, Ji Wu, is still a sun and moon. How dare you challenge me? Ji Wu was the emperor of the celestial race. At this moment, heaven's destruction was extremely rampant. The blood clouds continued to accumulate. He had just been suppressed a little, but now, there were even more blood clouds. The white-haired godly monarch's body was directly shattered by this strike. It was only after a long time that the river of time appeared, restoring his other two incarnations. His face was pale as he looked at Heaven Extinguisher, his eyes filled with shock. Heaven Extinguisher sneered. His laughter was sharp. I almost reached the immortal soul third level in the past. If it weren't for this *T passageway, that grandson, Ji Wu, wouldn't even be worthy of being my grandson. How dare you, the celestial race, bully our sacred city? Silence. At this moment, many invincible figures of the 10,000 races were shocked. Level 9 of Eternity. An expert who was one step away from achieving the immortal soul third level. Tianmia. Few people cared about Tianmia because it had been too long since these guards had made a move. Recently, only Xing Hong had made a move and Yun Xiao had made a few moves, but none of them were powerful enough, at least, they weren't at the level of the great Qin King. And heaven's destruction had destroyed the white-haired figure with a single blow. It was obvious that he had reached the level of the great Qin King. Incomparably powerful. The unrivaled experts were all shocked. This fellow was truly a top-tier eternal being. Apart from heaven's destruction, were there any other top-tier existences among the 36 stone sculptures? In the ancient city. The Milky Way's aura of death disappeared as they looked at heaven's destruction in shock. A thigh, a super thigh. It was only second to the thigh of a half-emperor. So powerful. An existence comparable to the great Qin King, this fellow, was actually so powerful. He had never expected this. Tianhe really hadn't expected this. Because Tianmi had never made a move, his attack was only an illusion. His original body had never made a move, and he didn't have the chance because Tianhe wasn't strong enough. Old Turtle had said, "Don't let Suyu remove the death aura restriction on heavenly destruction." Because he could hold on. He just wanted to come out to the waves, not to relieve the pressure. Heavenly destruction had never said that he couldn't hold on anymore. He just wanted to come out of the city waves. This was actually different from Yun Xiao and Yu Hong. Yu Hong was the weakest because she couldn't hold on anymore. Yun Xiao was slightly better than her. However, after a few more years, he probably wouldn't be able to take it anymore. However, heaven's destruction had never said that he couldn't take it anymore. He just wanted to get some air. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2463, Chapter 2463, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 3. Chapter 2463, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 3. At this moment, he took advantage of this opportunity to leave the city. Not only did he leave, but he also smashed a high-stage Eternal Realm expert with a club. His strength was incredibly terrifying. Even the great Qin King might not be able to do it. At least until now, the great Qin King had never displayed such strength. Heaven's destruction chuckled. As for the blood cloud in the sky, he did not care at all. At this moment, the blood cloud was still gathering. As he broke the rules, even with the token suppression, the power of the rules became stronger and stronger. Many people cursed in their hearts. Damn Heaven Extinguisher. This was causing trouble. At this moment, even the Divine Emperor did not say anything. He shouted, "Heavenly Ancient, use the representative token." As he finished speaking, 5 blood-colored tokens shot out from the Divine Realm. They were all incomparably powerful, and their auras surrounded the void. These tokens flew out and instantly suppressed the blood cloud. However, it was not enough. It had not disappeared yet. At the same time, blood-colored tokens flew out from the demon realm, the underworld, the immemorial giant realm, the spirit realm, the dragon realm, the iron-eating realm, and the whole realm. They suppressed the increasingly stronger power of laws. Council token. 20 tokens, 30 tokens. A moment later, 5 tokens flew out from the immortal realm. At this time, the blood clouds were suppressed by these council tokens, but they hadn't disappeared yet. Old Turtle snorted and shouted, "Only 43 tokens. We need 7 more." After saying that, he shouted, "Stop." With a low shout, the void trembled and 2 hairy balls appeared. Their mouths were wide open as if they wanted to eat something. When they heard Old Turtle shout, the big hairy ball immediately shut up. He laughed and said, "We are here to help. We are here to help. We also have a token. Hurry up, Mother Doll, quickly take it out." The Mother Ball threw out a token. Big Hairy Ball laughed and looked at Tian-gu with his huge eyes. He said dryly, "I didn't eat you. I didn't want to eat you. Help with the work. Don't look at me like that. You smell good, but I'm not hungry. I won't eat." At the edge of the immortal realm passage, Tian-gu's eyes changed but he didn't say anything. Big Hairy Ball was a little sad. Forget it. If they ate Tian-gu now, everyone would beat them up. It was too regretful, too sad. The meat was right in front of him. He could not eat it. Old Turtle Hong Meng did not even allow him to eat it. Old Turtle ignored him and shouted again, "Is there any more?" "No, I can only break it forcefully. If I break it forcefully, the backlash of the laws will have to be borne by someone." His eyes were green as he looked at the divine realm and the immortal realm. At this moment, Heavenly Ancient frowned. He looked at the void and said calmly, "The power of the laws has been suppressed by more than half. The remaining clouds can bear it. Let her transcend the tribulation. After she transcends it, the laws will disperse." The Old Turtle didn't say anything. Tian Mie cursed, "Don't transcend. How dare you attack our guard? Tian-gu, you will bear the backlash. If you dare to say no, today, your immortal realm will be broken. Your father had to call me Lord Tian Mie when he saw me in the past. You have guts." Tian-gu said indifferently, "Tian Mie is guarding. At this moment, the thunder tribulation has declined. Cloud will definitely be fine when he transcends the tribulation. Do you have to be so aggressive? If the cloud tribulation didn't pass, the rules wouldn't disperse. The 44 tokens could only be suppressed and couldn't be dispersed. Only after more than half of the tokens could the rules disperse. Right now, there might still be some representative tokens in the myriad realms, but if small clans didn't dare to take them out, then powerful clans might not take them out. Some ancient clans had already been destroyed and disappeared in the long river of history. It was almost impossible to gather 99 tokens. 50 tokens might be possible. However, at this point, without 50 tokens, Yunxiao could actually transcend the tribulation. 80% of the power of laws had been suppressed. But Tianmi wouldn't do it. Tianmi couldn't wait to go out of the city and fuck him once more. He snickered coldly, "Don't do it. If you have the ability, then don't bother. Whoever caused the disaster, who will bear it? If the immortals don't bear the consequences, then the 10,000 races will suffer together." This seat also wants to see if the 10,000 races are willing. The demon race, the dragon race, the netherworld race, and the spirit race, are you willing? The group of experts didn't say anything. Are you willing? Nonsense. Of course not. The immortals joined hands to attack the ancient city, causing the clouds to riot and the sky to be destroyed. Now, such trouble required them to take action. They were already very dissatisfied, and they still needed to bear the backlash. Only a ghost would be willing. At this moment, the void trembled as numerous powerful figures appeared. There were ancient race experts, the ancient race experts said ruthlessly, Tian-gu, you will bear the backlash. Stop talking nonsense. This king doesn't care what you are fighting for. Our realm has never participated in a war in the past 10,000 years. How dare you drag our realm into a war and destroy your immortal realm? Ji Wu, you and Tian-gu are together. Another incomparably huge giant that was as tall as the heavens appeared. It was the immemorial giant emperor. In the next moment, a gigantic iron-eating beast grabbed a fellow that wasn't sure if it was an immortal or a celestial. It bit down on half of it and began to eat. It said slowly, hurry up, it's time to sleep after the fight. Tian-gu, Ji Wu. Don't cause any more trouble. Roar roar roar. At this moment, a hoe that was even more powerful than the one Suyu had seen the last time appeared. Tian-gu, I heard that the meat of your immortal race is the most fragrant. Give me a few immortal kings and PLL help you deal with them. I'll deal with the backlash. PM not afraid of it anyway. The gigantic ancient hoe laughed viciously. Tian-gu, PV wanted to eat you since ancient times, but your father refused. Now give me a few of your descendants, and we can talk nicely in the future. As of this moment, all of the invincible experts in the area were silent. Countless sun, moon, mountains, and seas were terrified. This time, they had provoked a group of sleeping ancient experts. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2464, Chapter 2464, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 4. Chapter 2464, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 4. Yes, many of them were experts that had survived from the ancient era. That huge hoe was obviously one of them. Otherwise, it wouldn't have said that it ate Tian-gu and was stopped by Tian-gu's father. The guards of the ancient cities were all unrivaled in the ancient era. Doubao from the soul-devouring clan, Tian-gu, the half-emperor of the iron-eating clan, and the emperor of the ancient giant clan were all unrivaled in the ancient era. Normally, they were almost never seen, not even by their own tribe. Today, they had all appeared. The ancient celestial emperor was cold and indifferent. He had attacked because the celestials had suggested it. Now, these guys were all targeting the celestials. On the other hand, the celestials had almost been forgotten except for Tian-mie. Why? Tian-gu thought to himself. It was not the celestial race who had proposed to attack the ancient city or the Tao King. The Tao King had only agreed because he felt that he could do it. But he could not say anything. Could it be that they were going to look for Ji Wu? Then they would have to shed all pretense of cordiality with the celestial race. His eyes were deep as he looked at the ancient city and the old turtle. He said slowly, Yun Shao can pass the tribulation. After the tribulation, the celestial race will bear all the losses. Now, Yun Shao could pass the tribulation successfully. There wasn't much danger. The 44 blood tokens really suppressed more than half of the power of laws. Old Turtle was about to speak when Tian-mie suddenly roared, I won't agree. Kill, kill, kill. Kill him and turn the world upside down. Break this world and let's have another great ancient tribulation. The surroundings were silent. Tian-mie said crazily, kill. I didn't participate in the great ancient war. PM very regretful. Let's fuck him once. Boss, are you going to do it? No, PM going to kill this little guy, Tian-gu. After saying that, he wanted to rise up again. Old Turtle looked at him silently. This guy was too energetic. Rising up from the ground, was good too. After the tribulation, you do it. The one who violated the rules was not Yun Shao alone, but heaven's destruction too. He could transfer all the pressure to heaven's destruction and let him face the tribulation. You're so energetic, so you can do it. Heaven's destruction was like a crazy demon. After roaring for a while, he saw that the world had become quiet. He was a little bored and scolded F***ck. Someone who can fight, don't you dare to fight. Come out and fight outside the realm. Let's turn the world upside. His voice became softer and softer. Boring. No one dares to fight with me. It's really F***king boring. He landed again and turned into a stone statue. Looking at the Milky Way that was about to be eroded to death by the death aura, he was speechless. He absorbed a little of the Milky Way's death aura and cursed in his heart. Big trash, I just left and you're going to die. Trash. He knew what his boss meant, and that was enough. Everyone still had a mission, and the power of law. In the end, if they really wanted to be struck, it would be them. What he said was ruthless, but in reality, the 10,000 races really didn't care. They would die first, and the passageway would shatter. That was why the great calamity of the undead was triggered. Even if they died, he wouldn't be able to see the great calamity. Boss' meaning was very clear. It was enough to let everyone know that the ancient city wasn't to be trifled with. He would give some compensation, and this matter would be over. However, Heaven's Destruction really wanted to go out and fight. Unfortunately, he did not have this opportunity. If he went out for a while longer, the heavenly river would definitely die. If he died, Heaven's Destruction would leave. The passageway would open, and the undead would wreak havoc. The next person to be struck to death would be him. Heaven's Destruction was unwilling, so he landed on the passageway. Below him, an undead sovereign felt extremely regretful. You shouted so loudly, you should kill your way out. If you kill your way out, you can also satisfy us. Unfortunately, this fellow didn't want to leave. There was also the Balrog. It was really miserable. It was crushed into pieces by the old turtle. It wasn't so easy to die. The key point was that its injuries weren't light. Now that a group of sovereigns had escaped, there was definitely a sovereign who had designs on the Balrog. Devouring one another and encroaching on one's territory was also a powerful method. Because of the destruction of the heavens, the matter was in a stalemate. At this moment, while everyone was silent, someone suddenly panted and laughed. The matter started because of me. Why don't I give everyone a solution? Countless experts looked at Su Yu, or rather, Lu Hong. Lu Hong sighed. It felt better to have his back against the mountain. He was now Su Yu, and this battle was actually because of Su Yu. It had drawn out many half-emperors from the ancient times. This was too exciting. However, this battle was obviously not going to start. At this stage, it didn't matter if Tian Gu bore the backlash of the rules or if he was crossing the tribulation with Yun Shao. In fact, there wasn't much of a problem. Tian Gu didn't agree because of his face. He was an immortal emperor, so he couldn't agree. Yun Shao and Tian Mie didn't agree because they were unwilling, indignant, and unhappy. In fact, once the 44 blood tokens were released, there wasn't much of a problem. Lu Hong was not afraid when he saw that everyone was looking at him. This guy was actually very brave. Most people would have been scared to death by the look in his eyes. He did not. He still had a bright smile on his face. He did have a bit of Su Yu's courage and courage. Our sacred city exists to suppress the dead soul's realm. You don't want our sacred city to give up completely, do you? This time, the immortals and the celestials took the initiative to provoke the sacred city. It almost caused chaos in the 10,000 worlds. This is the source and the reason. Of course, the celestials are the pillars of the myriad realms. When the dead soul's realm really appears, we can count on the celestials to resist it. Let's not hurt the harmony. Lu Hong chuckled and said, I don't think that the Tao King and Heavenly Jew have the intention to deliberately target the sacred city. Heavenly Ancient. Immortal Emperor and Divine Emperor Ji Wu might not know about it either. It's all a misunderstanding. The Tao King has lost 2 lives, and Divine King Tianjue has lost 1. What should be punished has been punished. However, there's still a problem. Who will bear Lord Yunxiao's lightning tribulation? In my opinion, we shouldn't let the heavenly ancient immortal emperor and divine emperor Ji Wu bear it. It's better to let the other 7 invincible experts bear it. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2465, Chapter 2465, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 5. Chapter 2465, Chapter 531, A Mouthful of Fragrant Blood 5. Lu Hong narrowed his eyes, he chuckled and said, "If you make a mistake, you have to pay a price. You can't make a mistake and let the parents bear the consequences. You're not a child anymore. Some of you are tens of thousands of years old. Out of the 7, one of you took out a 3-generation avatar and transcended the tribulation together with Lord Yunxiao. When the tribulation is over, this matter will be over. Why talk about compensation? There's no need. The punishment for making a mistake is fine. There's no need to make any compensation, right?" The expressions of the 7 invincible deities were unsightly. This was especially so after an immortal king's avatar was destroyed by Yunxiao's sword. If this were to happen again, he would truly become a bachelor. Right now, there were quite a number of invincible bachelors in the myriad clans. Over the past few days, a few invincible deities had died, but most of them still had their 3-generation avatars destroyed. From start to finish, there were around 30 of them. Now, the vessel had almost become an absolute treasure. Everyone wanted it. This time, many people had entered the Starry Sky Mansion to search for the vessel. This thing was more popular than anything else. Those people did not expect the 9-leafed sky lotus, but the vessel, they really wanted it. Lu Hong's words had ill intentions. 7 invincible clones. If they really went through the tribulation together with Yun Xiao, perhaps half of the 3 invincible clones would die. Yun Xiao was very strong. It was still the original body, but they weren't. Moreover, even the original body didn't dare to unite with the original body to help with the tribulation. Moreover, helping with the tribulation was actually useless. With more people, the power of law would appear even more. They wouldn't stop until they were hacked to death. This was the meaning of killing the 7 of them. Well done. At this moment, even Su Yu had to shout that Lu Hong was not bad. Compensation. I'm short of your 3 melons and 2 dates. The Celestials and Celestials would not compensate you with anything good. I'll kill 7 of your 3 incarnations. It's better than anything else. This time, the ones who made a move were the 4 undefeatable Celestials and the 5 Celestials. Now, 3 of them had already broken their 3 incarnations. On the Celestial side, there were 3 more who had their 3 incarnations crushed by Old Turtle. If 4 more came, the Celestials would probably cry. After all, in the last war, one of the Celestials lost an immortal king. If they came again this time, the losses would be too heavy. And at this moment, Old Turtle said coldly, "Tiangu, Ji Wu, Su Yu is right. Whoever makes a mistake, will bear the consequences. These 9 will undergo the tribulation together with Yun Xiao. Life and death are fated. If Yun Xiao dies from the tribulation, I will suppress the 2 cities. I will not let the undead passageway open." At this moment, the big hairy ball also gloated, right, that's it. Tiangu, why don't you give a few immortal kings to me to eat? I will also help you bear the backlash. How about it? It and the Ho both had the same idea. Feed us a few immortal kings, and we'll help solve the problem. The immortals smelled so good. At that moment, in the distance, the Tao King's face was pale. The few immortal kings had retreated to the vicinity of the Tao King. On the other side, the white-haired godly king's face was also unsightly. Suyu, said 7, while Old Turtle was even more straightforward. 9 at once. If he lost another 3 lives, he would be single. Dao King, if the Dao King died again, he would really die. The Immortal Realm. At the entrance of the passageway, immortal kings appeared one after another beside Tiangu. The few immortal kings who had just been unlucky enough to have their 3 lives shattered had some complaints. Their eyes weren't too friendly, and they wished that the Dao King would be killed. It really was like a man sitting at home, causing trouble from the heavens. Damn it, they were in the Immortal Realm's nest, but Old Turtle had actually destroyed their 3 lives. The Immortal Realm was in turmoil, and they had only come out to take a look. They were extremely unlucky, and their 3 lives had been destroyed. They grumbled in their hearts, but of course, they did not say it out loud. They all looked at Tiangu. In front of the outside world, it was better not to have internal strife. Although they all hoped that Tiangu would agree to let it go, they knew that Tiangu would not give up on these immortal kings. Including Dao King, there were 5 immortal kings. Sure enough, Tiangu looked around inside. His voice reverberated, I will bear the backlash of the laws. Dao King and the others made an unintentional mistake, so they do not need to bear it with their lives. Brother Hongmeng, the immortal race has no intention of destroying the sacred city. At this moment, Tiangu said with compassion, I will also bear the sins of the immortal race. Let this matter end here. With that, a huge coffin flew out of the immortal world without a cover. In the next moment, the coffin with countless golden patterns rushed into the blood clouds. Rumble. A huge thunder resounded throughout the world. The attacks and the shattering of the blood clouds caused the blood clouds to continuously collapse. However, the power of law was still being born. Of course, because of the suppression of the blood token, the speed at which it was born was not as fast as the speed at which it shattered. After a while, the coffin suddenly struck the endless void, and with a loud boom, the sky seemed to be pierced. At this moment, a long river of time appeared faintly. It was the source of the power of law. At this moment, the coffin suddenly smashed toward the long river. Blood rained down. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The faint river of time suddenly broke, and an incomparably powerful blood tribulation suddenly hacked towards the immortal realm. This was also the final power of laws. Bang! A loud sound reverberated across the heavens. The golden lines on the coffin were broken, and even the coffin board was broken. At the same time, the power of laws surged into Tiangu's body, causing him to explode. Pooh! Tiangu spat out a mouthful of blood. His blood turned golden, and it instantly burned. A fragrant scent wafted in all directions. At this moment, outside the immortal realm, Big Hairy Ball, Mother Ball, Huge Ho, Immemorial Golden Rock, Ancient Iron-Eating Beast, all of them swiftly gathered together. They were all sniffling, and their eyes were bloodshot as they looked at the passageway to the immortal realm. The sight caused the immortal kings behind Tiangu to feel a chill run down their spines. Crazy. All of them were crazy. These guys smelled the scent and all of them wanted to eat Tiangu. Tiangu was also stunned. He looked at these guys and his eyes instantly turned cold. Everyone. What else do you want? No, no. Big Hairy Ball hurriedly said, I see that you're injured. So pitiful. I'll lick you. My devouring god clan can heal you by licking your sea of consciousness. My mother and I will lick you, your injuries will heal soon. The cue ball nodded crazily. Lick. We'll lick you. We'll heal you. We're all good balls. Screech. The giant iron-eating beast took a bite. It glanced at the 2 balls and then disappeared. These 2 balls are really bold. I'm just here to take a look. Tian-gu doesn't like to eat them. You guys have fun. Now that the problem was solved, it had to go back to sleep. On the other hand, Tian-gu's face flickered as he looked out of the realm. A mouthful of blood, perhaps it would cause quite a bit of trouble. These fellows were truly bold. Each and every one of them actually wanted to eat him. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2466, Chapter 2466, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or not. Only the Tao King was being beaten up. Please subscribe. Chapter 2466, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or not. Only the Tao King was being beaten up. Please subscribe. Tian-gu's expression was cold. Big Hairy Ball and the others were only there to join in the fun and smell the scent. They were in the immortal realm, so how could they really eat him? What a joke. If they entered the immortal realm, 7 or 8 semi-emperors working together would probably be hacked to death by Tian-gu. If they really wanted to eat him, they would have to wait until he came out before eating him. Big Hairy Ball and the others instantly disappeared. They smelled too good, but couldn't eat them. Forget it. At that moment, the blood tribulation disappeared. It was a complete mess. They didn't get anything. 7 three-generation bodies were thrown in. Tian-gu was also slightly injured, and many great demons had their eyes on him. They got nothing. As for Su Yue, he was still Su Yu. At that moment, Lu Hong was all smiles and calm. Xing Hong, Yun Xiao, and Yu Hong had all returned to the city. However, in the main hall of the city lord's mansion, the Bai family's patriarch wasn't feeling very well. At this moment, the death qi was spreading rapidly, and he was continuously absorbing the death qi. Even the absorption speed of his young aperture couldn't keep up with the rate at which it was being born. One after another, the half-emperors took the council token and instantly disappeared from the heavenly battlefield. Unless it was a critical moment, the half-emperors didn't want to show themselves. Some of them were old and needed sleep to recover and maintain their vitality. Some of them didn't want to go out. If they were killed, they might as well stay in the ancient world and be safe. Almost none of the half-emperors dared to run around. Hairy Ball and Q Ball were the same. Before, no one cared about them and they could still run around. Now that someone cared about them, they didn't dare to run around to avoid being surrounded and killed. There were many benefits to killing a half-emperor. It was not impossible to kill a half-emperor. Not to mention, 7 or 8 stronger undefeatable figures could also kill a half-emperor if they worked together. A half-emperor was not an existence that could suppress the heavens. Otherwise, the heavens would have been unified long ago. A bunch of cowards. At this moment, Apocalypse cursed. Was it over just like that? Hit me. You actually don't dare to hit me. You guys hit me. This time, PLL fight it out with you guys. Let's go out and have a good fight. What a pity. The rules still had to be followed. As members of the ancient parliament, they were not members of the parliament, but they belonged to the parliament. They still had to abide by some agreements and rules. Otherwise, after so many years, some people would not be able to hold on. In the air, the invincible races retreated one after another and landed in each other's camp. In a huge battle, no invincible races had fallen. However, the unlucky Tao King had lost 2 lives. At this moment, his expression was extremely unsightly. He still had to think about how to prevent a huge battle from erupting. Otherwise, he, who only had 1 life, would really be finished if he was killed. In the distance, Su Yu secretly let out a sigh of relief. Everything was fine. Some people were gloating. The celestial race was unlucky this time. 5 invincible people had lost 3 lives. There would soon be more bachelors in this race. On the celestial race's side, the white-haired ghost had also been smashed to pieces with a stick. Very good. Let you be arrogant. Continue to be arrogant. In addition, Lu Hong's disguise was not bad. This guy was indeed brave. So many experts had appeared, and he dared to speak with confidence. Those people from the small clans around Suyu were so far away that they were scared to the point of peeing. Of course, Suyu wasn't any better off either. As a weakling from the small clan of the Iron-Wing Bird clan, he was also incomparably terrified. The feathers on his head were almost scared off. The wings on his back and the hard feathers on his back were all standing up. Terrified. So scared. As a weakling from a small clan, if he wasn't afraid of this scene, then he was either a fool or a peerless expert. That was why Suyu was scared. Suyu, who was incomparably terrified, held the bird feathers on his head. The group of people around him were the same. Big Brother didn't mention Second Brother, and no one was laughing at anyone. A group of ancient fellows had come out, and even the invincible 3-generation bodies had been destroyed. This scene was too terrifying. Being afraid was only natural. Therefore, even if there were some fellows who fell into the sea and couldn't get up, no one laughed at them. They were all the same. From this, it could be seen who was strong, who had seen the great world, and who was more courageous. Besides Suyu, the black-tailed black sable also appeared in its true form. At this moment, a small black sable's voice was trembling. It's too terrifying. It's not like this in the past. This time, they started fighting before entering. I'm a little scared. Just now, some sun and moon mighty figures were eaten as snacks. Invincible did not die, but the sun and moon died. There was more than one. The iron-eating ancient beast ate an immortal. The giant hoe and the golden rock secretly ate a few and casually grabbed some. Some simply grabbed the immortal's food right under the Tao King's nose. Most importantly, the Tao King did not even dare to fart at that time. Because he was scared to death. At that moment, he was afraid that if he made a sound, he would be beaten to death. If he was beaten to death, he would really die. The fall of the sun and moon was so laughable. However, in everyone's eyes, the sun and moon were almighty experts. In the past, the sun and moon had rarely fallen. In the past year, the sun and moon had died worse than dogs. These fellows soared into the sky. In their eyes, the sun and moon were already supreme existences. Suyu continued to stroke the bird's feathers. He said in deep agreement, they are indeed terrifying. However, I'm afraid that I won't have the chance to avoid it the next time. That's why I've decided. I want to go in and enter the Starry Mansion. I want to become a powerhouse. I want to be stronger than Ling Yun. Many people agreed with him. That's right. The long-tailed wolf said in a low voice, Yi Fei is right. I think that the chaos of the myriad realms is about to descend. The last chaos of the 10,000 worlds happened hundreds of times before the tides. Our race has recorded that the war of the 10,000 worlds was started, and the invincible fell like rain, this time. I think it's going to happen soon. Every time the human race appears, it's a sign of chaos. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2467, Chapter 2467, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or a human. Only the Tao King was being beaten up. Please subscribe. 2. Chapter 2467, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or a human. Only the Tao King was being beaten up. Please subscribe. 2. A small clan member didn't understand. He looked at the giant wolf, who looked around. He transmitted his voice, you guys are too young. You don't understand. This wasn't the first time there was chaos in the myriad realms. I've seen it in the ancient records of my clan. Every time there were a few hundred tides, there would be chaos. And now, more than 10,000 tides have been destroyed since ancient times. I've read in the ancient records that the last time was the 9th time. This time, it might be the 10th time. The heavens battlefield opens once every few thousand years. After 1,000 years or so, there will be continuous battles. Sometimes, it will stop after a few decades. Sometimes, it will take hundreds or even thousands of years to calm down. Since then, there had been 9 battles of 10,000 worlds. As for the battle over 400 years ago, it didn't count. It was just a powerful race attacking the human race. It wasn't a battle of 10,000 worlds. In a real battle of 10,000 worlds, if one side wasn't completely destroyed, both sides would be injured or the battlefield would be sealed off. This time, the battlefield of 10,000 worlds had been open for 1,000 years, but the human race only opened it 400 years ago. The opening of 1,000 years was also a sign of a great war. As the long-tailed wolf said this, Suyu was a little interested. Interesting, this wolf knew a lot. The records of the human race did not record all of this. Suyu even thought that the human race was only participating in the heavenly war for the first time. Later, he found out from Old Turtle that it was not the first time. At this moment, he was a little curious. He looked at the wolf with envy and asked, "Brother Lang Tu, are you from the Night Demon Wolf clan?" The Night Demon Wolf was a race that was neither big nor small. The clan was not invincible, but there were many suns and moons. Could it be that this clan had also experienced several great battles? Lang Tu, the wolf, looked at Suyu with a cold gaze. It was not directed at Suyu, but it had always been like this. At this moment, he said in a low voice, "Night Demon Wolf, you can say that, right? However, I have some 3-headed demon wolf bloodline." As soon as he said this, the surrounding small clans were filled with respect. He was a big shot. As the name implied, the 3-headed demon wolf was a member of the ancient race and ranked 25th among the 10,000 races. The races that could be ranked in the top 10 weren't weak. Some aboriginals simply did not participate in the ranking. Amazing. Although there were only some bloodlines, this represented a high limit. For example, the 3-headed demonic wolf could give birth to a half-emperor, while the night demonic wolf was almost invincible at its peak. The difference between the two was huge. Lord Wolf 2 actually has the bloodline of the 3-headed demonic wolf. This is too noble. A group of experts from the small races began to flatter him. The main reason was that Wolf 2 was not weak either. With Ling Yun's 9th level strength, no one might believe that it really had such a bloodline. Anyway, it would not be at a disadvantage to flatter him. Suyu was somewhat convinced because he sensed that this fellow did not hide his strength. However, he felt that he was slightly stronger than the average 9th level Ling Yun. In addition, he knew some ancient secrets. It was possible that he really had a strong bloodline. He might even have gone to the 3-headed demon wolf clan to recognize his kin. Wolf 2 did not care much about the flattery of the crowd. He looked at the various camps from afar and then looked at the ancient cities. He sighed. It's just that there are some bloodlines. Compared to these major clans, these geniuses are nothing. Yi Fei is right. If we don't struggle, if we aren't strong, we will die sooner or later. Just like the countless smaller clans, we eventually disappeared into the myriad realms. After the realm was destroyed, hundreds and thousands of tides later, another clan was born. Some of today's rations, perhaps the next big change will be the ruler clan. Suyu saw that he knew quite a bit, so he deliberately said, "That can't be." Lang Tu shook his head, "You don't understand. Just say that the fire dolphin race is weak, but they also rule over a realm, the fire dolphin world. However, I once read that in the last tide, the fire dolphin world wasn't called the fire dolphin world, but the 6-armed long ape world. Later, the 6-armed long ape race disappeared into time, which gave birth to the fire dolphin race. Before the last tide chaos, this race was the food of the six-armed long ape. Although the fire dolphins were weak, they were now the rulers of this world. The top existences in the race also had the power of the sun and the moon. Of course, it was very rare. Such a race used to be food, but now, they had officially become a member of the 10,000 races. The 10,000 races didn't mean that every life was a race. At the very least, they had to have some strength. Suyu said in realization, so the fire dolphin world wasn't called this before. This race was only ranked on the 10,000 races list later. Brother Lang Tu really knows a lot. Lang Tu shook his head and didn't want to say anything else. The night demon wolf race that he was in wasn't very strong. They weren't in the top 100. Once a great battle broke out, the 10,000 worlds in the heavens would be swept in. Perhaps their race wouldn't be seen in the next chaotic tide. And some of their food today might soon become a clan that would dominate the night demon wolf world. Suyu and the others were having a chat after surviving the calamity. On the other side, Lu Hong suddenly made a move. At this moment, the Great War had just ended. Lu Hong smiled again and said, "This time, the sacred city won't be able to use so many spots. We only need 40 spots for 50 spots. Dao King, white-haired brother, you guys have been beaten up so badly this time. You probably lack slots, right? Do you still have enough carriers? There are many in the Starry Manor. Why don't I sell 10 slots to you guys?" Suyu cursed in his heart. This bastard, is he going to sell my slots? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2468, Chapter 2468, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or a human. Only the Dao King was getting beaten up. Chapter 2468, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or a human. Only the Dao King was getting beaten up. Although I don't need it, I'm not selling it. Why the F***ck are you selling the quota? Speaking of which, if you sell it and the Dao King's people enter, maybe I can kill more. It's not impossible. However, you want to take the money? Dream on. Suyu cursed silently. Lu Hong was really bold. He actually wanted to sell the quota at this time. F***ck. At this moment, there were a few unrivaled experts who had broken through 3 incarnations. If they did not have any storage items, they had to enter or not. They had to go to the Starry Palace to look for them. Otherwise, there were very few storage items in the myriad realms. Now that they were selling the quota, they might be able to sell it at a high price. Since the quota had already been set, it would not be easy to change them even if they wanted to. When these words were said, Dao King and the others were a little angry. They all looked at Lu Hong. As for Lu Hong, he sat lazily on the void throne with a smile on his face. Why are you looking at me? PM selling your quota and giving you a chance to restore your 3 lifetimes, isn't that good? Do you want to court death and wait to be killed? Dao King said coldly, Suyu, name your price. Lu Hong said with a smile, just 10 quotas. With 10 more quotas, we might be able to let 10 people in and give you 3 to 5 load carriers. Of course, the premise is that your people are strong enough, or you might as well go in yourself. The price is not high, so pack it up and sell it. You probably don't have any carriers. My injuries are not light. Just give me 10 demon god fruits, 105 element fruits, and 300 divine vital essence fruits. The lion opened its mouth wide. Demon god fruits were sold according to 60 drops of sun and moon blood essence. The 5 elements fruit was not cheap either, and so was the divine vital essence fruit. These items added together were worth more than 1,000 drops of sun and moon blood essence. Of course, this was the first level. 10 spots, it was not too expensive to say that it was expensive. But to say that it was cheap was nonsense. The Tao King's eyes flickered. This time, the immortals had obtained a total of 600 spots, but he had only received 8. This was considered normal because the immortals had many experts, immortal kings, sun and moon, and even the ancient heavens had to share the majority. 8 slots was not a small number. But was it enough? If it was not enough, they could only allow people to enter through a special passageway. The key was that there were too few people who could enter. Now, there were 10 stable slots. One more person, one more hope. He needed 2 carriers. He was different from White Hair. White Hair found that his body had exploded. The carriers were not very important. What was important was that his body had fallen now, and it was difficult to recover. What he had fallen was the past and the future. He needed carriers. And he only had one carrier. He needed another. It was just that the price was too expensive. As he was thinking, another immortal king who had been killed by Yun Shao transmitted his voice, Tao King, buy it. You and I will split it equally. He needed it too. His share was less than the number of Tao King slots. He had only split 6. At this moment, he felt helpless. No matter how much money he had to buy it. Originally, he had no intention of letting his son, who was only at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm, in. But now, he could not. He had to go in. Finding the vessel and seizing the vessel all required strength. Otherwise, if his 3 incarnations died, there would definitely be disputes in the immortal realm. Very soon, there would be immortal kings eyeing his Tao domain. The Tao King pondered for a moment. If they split it equally, then he could still bear it. Without waiting for the others to speak, the Tao King said in a deep voice, "All right, I'll buy it." No one said anything. It was normal for the Tao King to buy it. The immortal race had lived for a long time and had money. With so many treasures, the other races might not be able to take them out even if they were invincible for a short period of time. If the Tao King bought it, it would probably be emptied out. Lu Hong said with a smile, "The Tao King is indeed bold. I hope that the Tao King can live a little longer. Otherwise, if the money is gone, the 3 incarnations will also be gone. If he dies again, it will be quite uncomfortable. It will be a huge loss." He was just like Su Yu. He was very sharp-tongued. At this moment, he laughed and said, "But then again, the money is not spent. It would be sad if he died. Look, now that the Tao King is dead, it is not a loss. The money has been spent." The Tao King's expression was cold. He did not argue with him. This was Su Yu. It was not Su Yu. He was not so bold, not so sharp-tongued, not so heart-piercing. Lu Hong chuckled. "Let's make a deal. I'm a very particular person. You give me the money first. Don't worry, I'll give you the token. All the clans are here. I still want to keep my face." Tao King said coldly, "I don't have that many things, but I can use other treasures of equivalent value to make up for it." Lu Hong said with a smile, "That won't do. The Heaven Hunting Pavilion is here, the 5 Elements clan is here, and the Demon clan is also here. You can find them to exchange for it. They've exchanged it with you. You can look for me again. Otherwise, don't dream about it. Who knows if the things you've given me are useful or not? I don't have the energy to investigate. These few things are better. I'm familiar with them, so I can instantly know whether they're real or fake." The Tao King cursed inwardly. If he found someone to exchange for it now, wouldn't he be ripped off again? Sure enough, at this moment, whether it was the 5 Elements race, the Demon race, or the Heaven Hunting Pavilion, there were people who smiled. This could be done. At this time, they could exchange it for some money. Tao King still had some good stuff. After all, he lived a long life. Usually, this fellow would not take it out. Dao King took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Okay, I'll exchange it soon. Su Yu. I hope that you will stay in the ancient city forever. If you come out, I'll definitely kill you." Lu Hong narrowed his eyes and said with a smile, "You say that like a child in a fit of pique. I was just about to say, don't come out. Come out, I'll call my father to beat you up." "Dao King, you're already so old. Calm down. More than half of you are already dead. Why are you still so arrogant?" You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2469, Chapter 2469, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or not. Only the Dao King was getting beaten up. Subscribe to more. 4. Chapter 2469, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or not. Only the Dao King was getting beaten up. Subscribe to more. 4. You're the one who's arrogant. At this moment, many people were silently criticizing him. This guy was the one who was truly arrogant. To an invincible person, he would do his best to ridicule them. His vicious tongue would pierce one's heart. If the Dao King didn't have enough character, he would probably be angered to death. Lu Hong chuckled. "What am I afraid of? I'm not Su Yu. If I offended you, why would I care? Do you know who I am? Really? That Su Yu fellow isn't afraid of offending people. Don't say it. It feels good. Damn it." At this moment, he couldn't bear to part with it. Pretending to be Su Yu feels good. He scolded an invincible person until he was speechless. It was different to have a backer. "You hit me. I have many invincible people here. I have half Imperial City. Who's afraid of who?" In the distance, Su Yu watched Lu Hong's performance in silence. He felt that it was still all right. He had emptied out the Dao King. If he killed all the people that the Dao King had sent in, he would probably vomit blood if he didn't die. He had spent all his money, lost all his people, and emptied out all his assets. This way, the Dao King would suffer a huge loss. The key point was that Lu Hong had exchanged so many things. Was he preparing to use the 9 transformations of Ling Yun? They were all good things. Just because Su Yu didn't like them didn't mean that ordinary people could have them. Putting everything else aside, a 5 elements fruit was something that Ling Yun of a small clan could only dream of. Devil God fruit, he probably hadn't even seen the sun and moon of a small clan before. Su Yu thought to himself. These were all mine. He couldn't let that fellow snatch them away. Before he left, he forgot to mention it. Big shots like Xing Hong might not care about these things, but that wasn't possible. He didn't dare to contact Xing Hong now. There were too many experts here, and he was afraid that they would find out. No rush, this guy won't be able to run away in a short while, and he won't be able to digest them. He won't be able to finish them all. Later, I'll find an opportunity to use the City Lord token to communicate with Xing Hong. It wasn't a difficult matter, I'll exchange them for you. Out of the 40 slots, 34 were taken out of the ancient city, and 5 of the 5 great demons were taken out. That was enough. The remaining one was given to General Tian Men previously. He didn't know if he would go. He wasn't too familiar with that person, but when he was destroying the ancient city, he had warned Su Yu a few times. Su Yu didn't let Elder Wang go. If he went, he might send himself to his death. This time, there were too many people targeting the human race. Moreover, it was the people by Su Yu's side. As for the 5 great demons, Su Yu had also warned them to pray for their own good. If they did not want to die, they should not go. If they were not afraid of death, they could go in and gamble. 40 spots were just enough. On Lu City's side, Suyu did not need to worry. They had all gotten the spots. This time, Lu's city had gotten quite a lot. He did not know if it was because of the efforts of the south boundless border or the great Xia manor. Lu Hong was in the middle of the transaction, and in the ancient city, heaven extinguisher cursed, Suyu, what are you selling? When will you become the city lord? Lu Hong was stunned, but he quickly smiled and said, soon. When my injuries recover and my strength enters the mountains and seas, I will come. Lord, don't worry. Next time, let Lord go out and kill to his heart's content. This was also a big shot, so he did not want to offend him. In any case, it wasn't his own matter. Suyu would do as he saw fit. I'm only in charge of acting. I don't care about anything else. That's more like it. Tian Mie snorted. He knew that this wasn't Suyu. Yes, he knew. But. PM asking you to agree. The whole world saw it. If you agree, you're not Suyu. Even the real Suyu has to admit his debt. If you don't, I'll beat you to death with a stick. Not long after, the Tao King returned with a dark face. His face was really dark. He was being blackmailed again. The Sky Hunting Pavilion's 5 Elements clan, seeing that he was in urgent need, were all offering high prices. If you don't want to buy it, then forget it. It was 30% higher than usual. This time, he was completely emptied. After living for so many years, he also had to cultivate, raise his family, and raise his children and grandchildren. His accumulation could be considered to be rich. Today, it was all empty. There was nothing left. No, there was still a vessel. This was the last of his family's assets. He was still short of one. If he were to exchange it for half of the 5 slots, then adding his original 8 and 13 slots, there was no need for more. All he needed was to snatch back a vessel for him, and that would be enough. If he could exchange 13 slots for a vessel, then he would be satisfied. Moreover, he would also send people to snatch the slots from the special passageway. Amidst the Tao King's dark expression, Lu Hong threw 10 tokens to him. He chuckled and said, don't be angry, Lord Tao King. Today, you didn't die. Lord Hongmeng didn't even manage to kill you with his full strength. This is a fortunate thing. In the future, Lord can announce to the world that you fought with the half-emperor, but you're still alive. This can be recorded in the annals of history. Ha ha ha. Yu Wudi laughed out loud. On the human side, even the great Xia King couldn't help but laugh. He no longer wore a cold expression, he laughed and said, that's true. You fought with the half-emperor and fought alone, you didn't die even after taking one move from the half-emperor. Tao King, you have the right to brag. Tao King wore a cold expression and didn't say a word. He quickly returned to the immortal camp. At this moment, the anger in his heart surged to the heavens. Suddenly, he looked at Lu Hong and said coldly, City Lord Su doesn't want _NT to enter the Starry Manor. Lu Hong laughed and said, am I stupid? I go in and wait for you guys to kill me. I don't lack treasures now. 9-leafed sky lotus. A vessel. I have plenty. In this place, you Tao King are nothing. If you go in, you guys will crazily take revenge on me. Tao King, don't you think so? Lu Hong laughed and said, look, today, the 9 unrivaled experts wanted to kill me, but in the end, they were beaten up like grandsons. If this were in the Starry Manor, wouldn't I have been beaten up until I exploded? So, as a person, don't be too greedy. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2470, Chapter 2470, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or not. Only the Tao King was being beaten up. Requests for subscriptions. 5. Chapter 2470, Chapter 532 was about whether a person was a ghost or not. Only the Tao King was being beaten up requests for subscriptions. 5. Lu Hong had a playful look on his face. He looked around and quickly said. Brother Modwa, Brother Wushuang, PLL have to trouble all of you this time. Zhan Wushuang and Modwa looked at him with a slight frown. What the hell? Lu Hong did not say much. Very quickly, he silently glanced at the Five Elements clan and saw the floating earth spirit. As if he was afraid that people would see it, he quickly shifted his gaze. Not many people noticed this scene, but there were still people who had been staring at him. At that moment, someone quickly sent a voice transmission. Keep a close eye on the floating earth spirit. The floating earth spirit, keep a close eye on him. Suyu had impersonated the floating earth spirit before. Just now, Suyu had subconsciously glanced at the floating earth spirit. M/hat did this mean? On the celestial race's side. The white-haired godly king's eye had yet to be destroyed. Suddenly, it opened and quickly looked at the floating earth spirit. And at that moment, on the Five Elements race's side, 5 powerful unrivaled figures suddenly looked at the white-haired godly king at the same time. Among them, the earth spirit was unrivaled. He said indifferently, Heavenly Absolute Godly King, it's not good to do this. This fellow was actually spying on their race's genius. The floating earth spirit was their hope. What did the Celestials want to do? The white-haired godly monarch did not say a word as he felt odd. And in the city, Lu Hong landed. He smiled. Hopefully, someone will be able to see him. When he saw me, he took a glance at the floating earth spirit. This fellow, after being scammed by me the last time, he is actually still looking for me. He wants to settle the score with me. This fellow isn't someone to be trifled with. It's best to use someone else's knife to kill him. There was no need to say anything. Just taking a peek was enough. As for whether he would be able to comprehend it or not, he would have to look at the 10,000 clans. He hoped that the 10,000 clans would be smarter. Why couldn't Suyu impersonate the floating earth spirit? Although there was currently Suyu in the city, who knew if Suyu had other tricks up his sleeve? Lu Hong thought to himself. Actually, he was even more curious as to who Suyu was impersonating. This fellow was definitely preparing to enter. The key was that even he was unable to determine who Suyu was impersonating. Or could it be that he was just casually impersonating someone and entering through a special passageway? After fiddling with the storage ring in his hand, Lu Hong was quite satisfied. There were so many treasures. Taking a glance at Old Master Bai in the main hall, Lu Hong said with a smile, Old Master's injuries aren't light. There might be a big battle coming up and Old Master will need to contribute. Please accept this demonic god fruit. As he said that, he handed over a demonic god fruit. Old Master Bai looked at him. Lu Hong said sincerely, even if Suyu is here, he will still do this. Old Master Bai must accept it. Now that his injuries have recovered, it is also to deal with the trouble that will follow. After the mansion opens, there might be people coming to test it out. To test whether Suyu has left or not, so Old Master Bai must not stand on ceremony. Master Bai pondered for a moment and nodded. He did not say anything else. Lu Hong was right. He quickly took the demonic god fruit and swallowed it to recover from his injuries. A treasure was a treasure. Just a moment ago, the aura of death was still permeating the air, and his body was decaying. In an instant, more than half of the aura of death in his body dissipated. Lu Hong smiled. The remaining treasures were respectfully placed in the back hall in front of the stone sculpture. He smiled and said, Sir, these are Suyu's. Sir, please help to keep them. I won't keep them in case Suyu is unhappy. Xing Hong was a little surprised and nodded. This Lu Hong knew his place. Lu Hong was still full of smiles. He didn't mind seeing the storage ring disappear. In front of Xing Hong, don't let your imagination run wild. Outside the ancient city. The unrest had ended. At this moment, the 10,000 clans had calmed down a lot. The large clans weren't as arrogant as they were at the beginning. They were now at daggers drawn. Not long after, a black hole suddenly appeared outside the huge white jade gate. Wuxia said indifferently, "It's about to open. This black hole is the entrance. However, you have to wait until all 3,260 black holes are opened before you can enter. Finally, a special passageway will be opened. Only 360 can enter." On Su Yu's side, Lang Tu did know a lot of things. At this moment, he explained to the little demons again, the appearance of these black holes is a sign that it's about to open. It's quite fast. It might be related to the battle just now. 9 layers of black holes will appear in all directions. There are 3,260 entrances. That place is relatively safer. Unfortunately, we can't get a spot at all. Only the special passage is our chance. At that time, there would definitely be countless experts entering, and there would also be those from the large clans who wouldn't be able to get a spot. Everyone must be careful of these experts from the large clans. Besides Su Yu, the fish-headed girl hurriedly said, "Lord Wolf, if the invincible sun and moon were to enter, wouldn't we be instantly killed?" "It wouldn't go that far." Lang Tu explained, "The special passage, the word special, can explain everything. After entering, space and time are in disorder. If we're lucky, we can directly teleport into the Starry Mansion. If we're unlucky, we'll encounter some powerful enemies and kill each other, or maybe we can get a spot. If our luck is even worse, then we'll encounter those experts. Under normal circumstances, you won't encounter these experts in the special tunnel, but they'll bump into each other. This is also a chance for the small clans." Someone sighed. "It's a pity that we don't have the ancient city token. I heard that with the ancient city token, we can pull it along with the entrance and directly enter." Lang Tu said indifferently, "The ancient city token isn't cheap. How can there be so many ancient city tokens? Moreover, the ancient city token isn't omnipotent. If we really bring the ancient city token, we might encounter a powerful enemy. That would be troublesome." Su Yu listened quietly. He knew some things, but he wasn't too clear about some. As expected, small characters had their own circle of small characters. They could more or less hear some gossip. He glanced at the white jade gate. At this moment, black holes were slowly appearing. At the current speed, it should take a few days to open the tunnel. Speaking of which, I'll take the special tunnel. What if I can't enter? Su Yu suddenly felt a little strange. Then wouldn't I have come here for nothing? Troublesome. Forget it, if I really can't enter, I'll take the opportunity to find another place to collect the corpses while these unrivaled experts are watching. P.S. PM so tired. I have to open another large dungeon. The preparatory work is almost done. Everyone, please give me some monthly tickets. The monthly tickets are too little. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2471, Chapter 2471, Chapter 533 Special Passageway L. Chapter 2471, Chapter 533 Special Passageway L. More and more black holes appeared. As for the ancient city of Hongxing, it was still standing. In fact, even at this moment, there were still many people staring at the ancient city of Hongxing. Not long after, experts covered in death qi began to gather. These were the experts who were preparing to enter the Starry Palace this time. In the other cities, there were city lords who personally entered, and there were also experts who were not city lords. Each city only had one spot, and some city lords did not want to enter, so they chose someone else. As for the ancient city of Xinghong, only 5 great demons had walked out. They were not considered strong. Or rather, they were relatively weak. Ling Yun and the other two, and the three from the mountain and sea realm. The 5 great demons were all a little scared. Many people were staring at them, forcing them to quickly get closer to the others. At this moment, there were indeed many unrivaled experts observing them. Including the white-haired godly king, the giant eye in his hand was also looking at these fellows that came out of the ancient city. He scanned the surroundings and left the ancient city. To unrivaled experts, there was practically no obstruction. With a glance, he could see through everything. There was no Su Yu. Even so, the unrivaled experts still quickly transmitted their voices to everyone. Kill all the fellows from the ancient city. Kill all of them. Just like the human race. Su Yu was too annoying. At this moment, Xing Hong flew out of the ancient city and arrived in front of the participants. He said coldly, "Follow me. I'll send you to the entrance of the passage later so that you won't be coveted by others and think that there's no one in our sacred city." In the city, Lu Hong floated in the air again and looked at the participants of the ancient city. He smiled and said, "Everyone, be careful. The people of the sacred city should stick together. If nothing goes wrong, a group of fellows who have suffered at my hands will not let you off. If you can't deal with me, I can still deal with you. City Lord Tianhe, you are the strongest. After entering, take care of you. I will definitely do my best." Tianhe replied loudly. This time, he was one of the few city lords who chose to enter. If he did not enter, he would be despised to death by Tianhe. "I'm leaving. I'm going to be despised by you." In the city, Lu Hong said faintly, "I hope that everyone will be able to gain something." After saying that, he did not say anything else and silently watched as the passageways appeared. The passageways appeared faster and faster. Passageways appeared in all directions. They were divided into 9 rows, 1 row with 90 passageways. The higher the level, the easier it was to enter the higher level starry manor. And the special passageways were above the white jade gate. At this moment, many experts and geniuses had already walked out from the powerful clans and stood in front of the passageways. There were many people. Some of the experts from the smaller clans that were close to the 3 clans also chose their own locations. On the eastern side, the human geniuses and experts also walked out one after another. On the eastern side, the majority of people were from the human and dragon clans. The ancient city's forces also chose this side this time, including the heaven hunting pavilion. These 4 great forces had almost finished distributing the quotas in the eastern side. The experts would almost all choose the upper-level passageways. This way, they could save time and directly enter the 3rd and 4th levels. The weak would usually choose the lower-level passageways and would most likely appear from the 1st level. At this moment, another expert coldly said, "The Starry Sky Mansion is only open for a short period of time. Each path corresponds to a living being. If a person dies, the path will be broken. After they come out, they will appear outside the path. Killing could not be stopped within the mansion." However, everyone here was a genius from all over the universe. They should try their best to restrain themselves. Killing too much was not a good thing. There were dangers within the mansion too. Everyone, be careful. Those with tokens, please choose your own passageway. Special passageway, open it and enter. As the expert spoke, more and more experts with tokens walked up to the passageway. However, there were still some empty passageways. No one in the surroundings said anything. There might be experts preparing to enter the empty passageway, or even invincible experts. However, the reason why the other party didn't appear right now was to prevent them from being targeted. For example, if everyone knew about the human race, invincible experts would definitely enter. However, who would enter? At this moment, you don't know. Only when the passageway opened would the other party appear and enter. If you thought that Niu Baidao would enter, and in the end, perhaps the great Ming King would personally enter, then it would be enough for you to suffer. Your targeting would become a joke. Of course, the various races would not allow too many unrivaled experts to enter. The danger was too great. Moreover, if too many unrivaled experts went in, this world would also be in danger. On the human side, the various races had made a judgment. Even if there were truly unrivaled experts, there would not be more than 5. Moreover, the few unrivaled experts would not go in. For example, if the great Qin king and the others went in, the defenses of the human race would instantly weaken. The chances of these top-tier unrivaled experts going in were not high. In the distance, Su Yu and the others were also eager to try. Above the white jade gate, a huge black hole was appearing. It was a special passageway. Right now, it was not officially stabilized. Once it was officially stabilized, everyone could enter. Su Yu looked in all directions. At this moment, he saw many familiar faces at those passageways. He had seen almost all the people on the heaven roll. There were also many people on the earth roll. On the human side, there were even more familiar faces. Su Yu was familiar with almost all of the 20 spots in the Great Xia Mansion. The people from Lu City were not included in these 20 spots. On the Great Xia Mansion side, most of them were young people, and there were a few old people. This time, the strongest person in the Great Xia Mansion was Manager Hu. On the Great Xia Mansion side, many experts had fallen. Manager Hu was quite old, but he was a lot more stable. With him leading the team, he could take care of some of the people from the Great Xia Mansion. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2472, Chapter 2472, Chapter 533, Special Passageway 2. Chapter 2472, Chapter 533, Special Passageway 2. Su Yu actually saw Chen Long, his father's brother. Thinking about it, it could be considered normal. Chen Long could be considered a genius in the army. His combat strength was not weak, and he had killed his way up from the bottom. Moreover, Su Yu took a look this time and felt that the other party had become much stronger. Perhaps the Xia family had paid a price. He had helped the other party open more openings and recultivate the basic cultivation technique. The others, such as Xia Huyo and Wan Mingze, were among them. This time, the Great Xia Manor was focusing on young cultivators. Huang Teng and Wu Qi were also among them, and there were quite a number of people who were watching them. As for the Great Ming Manor, there were quite a number of people who were familiar with them. At this moment, Bai Juansheng's expression was bitter. He had to go in. Cui Lang, that fellow, was still rather calm, but he was a little awkward. Many people were looking at him. Cui Lang had no choice but to shout, "Stop looking at me. PM really not Su Yu. If you don't believe me, you can investigate me. Investigate me bit by bit. PM really not Su Yu." It was too scary. Many people were looking at him, and it made his hair stand on end. Cui Lang was very helpless. Seeing that everyone was still looking at him, he flew to the side helplessly. A woman beside him suddenly kissed him. He hurriedly said, "This is my wife, Cui Lang. Su Yu doesn't dare to kiss her. You can't bully a friend's wife, right?" Su Yu was stunned for a moment. What the hell? He roughly figured out who that woman was, the daughter of the Qing family. Cheng Yu, the granddaughter of Cheng Mo's grandfather. This Cui Lang dared to do it. The whole world was watching and he really went to kiss her. This time, Cheng Mo was also here. The old man's face was terrible. He would enter this time because he was at the 9th level of the Sun-Moon realm and was close to the quasi-invincible realm. This time, he would enter to find a carrier to help him advance. His granddaughter had made contributions in the heavenly battlefield and also got a spot to enter with him. At this moment, when he saw Cui Lang kissing his granddaughter in public. However, that stupid granddaughter of his still had a shy and embarrassed look on her face. Cheng Mo was so angry that his lungs almost exploded. Cui Lang. Cheng Mo looked at him coldly. If his gaze could kill, Cui Lang would have died long ago. Cui Lang smiled. Grandpa Cheng, I have no choice. These people are all staring at me. If I don't prove that PM not sue you, I will be beaten to death. The crowd was speechless. On the other side of the ancient city, Lu Hong could not help but laugh and said lightly, I am here, what are you afraid of? It seems that the 10,000 clans are quite afraid of me. I don't know whether to be proud or helpless. The four sides are silent. Also, sue you in the city, but, we still cannot help but think, Su Yu will not hide in. In fact, Invincible was investigating, and so was the third-level immortal soul Third Eye. The possibility of Su Yu sneaking in wasn't high, including the ancient city. The stone sculptures were also constantly moving. This was something that normal city lords couldn't bear, but everyone was faintly worried. Or rather, it wasn't worry, but an accident. Su Yu, this troublemaker, actually didn't go in this time. If he didn't go in, everyone felt that something was missing. You're not afraid of death, but you don't dare to go in. Cui Lang proved that he wasn't Su Yu, and no one looked at him anymore. In fact, he had been looked at by many invincible races time and time again. It didn't matter whether it was true or not. This time, the powerful races had a common goal: first, destroy the human race, then talk about the rest. Besides Su Yu, Lang Tu also said in a low voice, I'm a little surprised that City Lord Su doesn't want to go in. No wonder everyone is worried. Su Yu was speechless. Did he really have to enter? No way. Alright, it smells so good. I still chose to enter. And at that moment, the huge black hole in the sky began to gradually stabilize. The fluctuations became weaker. Lang Tu took a deep breath. He said in a deep voice, it's about to begin. Everyone, be careful. Before entering the passageway, it's also the most dangerous time. The goal of joining forces is at this moment. You must be careful. Entering the passageway was the greatest danger. Wang. With a violent tremor, intense yuan qi swept in all directions. At this moment, figures shot up into the sky from all directions. Boom! As countless figures soared into the sky, some were killed by the people beside them as their flesh and blood splattered everywhere. These were all competitors later. If they weren't killed, could they be left alive? And at this moment, there were many experts from the various large clans floating in the air. They didn't get any spots, or they felt that there weren't enough spots. At this moment, they also soared into the air. They were all very powerful, and not many people dared to stop them. The celestial race, and demon race all had them, as well as the human race. One expert after another soared into the air. Boom! There was an incomparably powerful demon expert who blasted everyone in front of him apart with a single punch. He indifferently said, don't block the way. On Su Yu's side, Lang Tu was the leader. At this moment, his expression was frighteningly grave. He shouted in a low voice, float in the air. Slow down. Let the experts enter first. After saying this, he led over 30 small clans of the soaring cloud realm to float in the air. Such small groups were everywhere at this moment. Tens of thousands of human figures floated in the air. Moreover, there were even more people gathering in all directions. The unrivaled large clans in the surroundings were all watching coldly. They didn't stop them, only watching. 360 quotas. Every time, tens of thousands of people would fight for them. Every time, the ones who suffered the most casualties weren't those who entered the mansion. At that time, no matter how many people died, there would only be 3,600. However, at this moment, it wasn't just that. The most tragic time was when more than 100,000 people fought for the quotas. That time, tens of thousands of lives were killed or injured. It was all for a chance. There was no need to fight for a chance 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 to fight. Fight for a chance to 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 fight for a. You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2473, Chapter 2473, Chapter 533, Special Passageway 3. Chapter 2473, Chapter 533, Special Passageway 3. Bang! The sound of an explosion rang in Su Yu's ears. The fish-headed banshee beside him was smashed into pieces with a single palm. Wolf 2 roared and a huge wolf appeared. A second head was about to appear. He roared and shouted, "Kill us! You'll have to pay the price." At this moment, Suyu had also transformed into a huge bird. He slashed out with his wings and joined forces with the cultivators of the other small clans to attack the giant in the distance. The giant's face was cold. He glanced at Wolf 2, whose blood was boiling, and laughed contemptuously. However, he did not pursue him any further. He stepped through the air and very quickly disappeared from his original spot. There was no need to waste time with these fellows. It would not be a problem for him to kill some while he was at it. This wolf still had some strength. From the looks of it, it still had the bloodline of a three-headed demonic wolf. These three-headed demonic wolves were also large clans, so there was no need for them to fight with this clan at this moment. Seeing that he had left, Lang Tu heaved a sigh of relief. However, he didn't dare to be careless. At this moment, corpses continued to fall from 1,000 meters in the sky. It was only a short 1,000 meters. For experts, it was extremely difficult to arrive in an instant. This was because they couldn't fly fast. If they flew fast, there would be people in front of them, there would also be people in the back. They had to be careful not to be killed in an instant. The seawater below was dyed red by blood. In front of the various passageways, the fellows holding tokens looked at them one by one. Some looked at them indifferently, some smiled, and some were incomparably arrogant. They had easily obtained the quotas. This was their confidence. Their race was powerful, and they themselves were powerful. Therefore, it was easy for them to obtain the quotas. As for those fellows who had gone to fight for the 360 quotas, they were extremely sad. They could only gamble with their lives. Even if they won the gamble and entered the Starry Manor, not many of the 360 quotas would survive. In the end, there were very few who gained anything. Perhaps not a single one. However, even so, it still made countless people go forward. Only here could one change their fate. Without the Starry Mansion, they would be at the bottom level for their entire lives. Only here, even if there was a chance for a top-tier expert to appear in 100 years, it would still be worth it. Perhaps, they would be the one in 100 years. If they didn't fight for it, everything would be impossible. If they fought, there would be hope. At this moment, Su Yu's sharp claws clawed at a Ling Yun realm fellow and tore him into pieces. Wolf Picture, whose tail swept away a huge beast, could not help but look over and said happily, "Not bad. Su Yu's bird face also revealed a smile. Suddenly, he flapped his wings and quickly disappeared from where he was. On the spot, there was an additional long spear. A person laughed and said, "Your speed is not slow. If this were any other time, I would still have to compete with you." However, there was no time now. This person quickly stepped into the air and quickly disappeared into the black hole in the sky. A large number of corpses fell down. Lang Tu also heaved a sigh of relief and shouted, "Gather, quickly, enter the tunnel. In a moment, all the spots will be taken." A moment later, more than 10 cultivators gathered around him again. Yes, in a moment, even with Lang Tu around, more than 20 people died in less than a kilometer. 2/3. As such, other parties and small teams were completely wiped out. Wolf 2's three-headed demonic wolf bloodline had scared away some of the powerhouses from the large clans. There was no need to kill a fellow from a large clan. Even if they wanted to kill him, it was best to enter the tunnel. Hence, Su Yu's side was able to survive more than 10 cultivators. Wolf 2 quickly scanned the surroundings and looked at the people around him. Almost all of them had died in the air. The remaining ones were mostly Ling Yun. Without any nonsense, he quickly brought this group of people up. At the same time, on the celestial side, the white-haired godly king scouted for a while. His huge eyes were staring at the special entrance of the tunnel. After looking for a while, he heard the godly emperor's voice. "There's probably no disguise." At this moment, on the ancient city's side, Lu Hong was holding a teacup and crossing his legs. He had a smile on his face as if he was watching a show as he watched the blood rain fall from the sky. The white-haired godly king didn't say anything. There was a high probability that he really wasn't prepared to go in. This fellow, Su Yu, had somewhat exceeded their expectations this time. However, thinking about it, everyone was staring at him. It was normal for him not to go. On the human side, the great Xia King glanced at Lu Hong and frowned slightly. He turned his head and said, "He did not go." The great Zhou King also looked over and said calmly, "It's good that he did not go. If he went, he would be asking for trouble." The great Xia King frowned. This is an opportunity that only comes once every 10 years. This is an even more rare opportunity. If he doesn't go, he might miss out on some opportunities. Saying that, he said, "If he really goes in, the ancient city can escort him in. After he goes in, be careful. He might not encounter so many experts." The great Xia King felt that it was a pity that Su Yu didn't go. This was the greatest opportunity in the myriad realms. Su Yu was a genius and had great luck. Once he entered, he might reap great rewards. Of course, the danger was also great. However, in the great Xia Emperor's view, danger and opportunity coexisted. It was normal for Su Yu to take the risk. Not going was the loss. It made people feel a little regretful. Modwa and the others were also geniuses. Entering was also dangerous, but they all chose to enter. This was because they all knew that if they missed this chance, they might always be left behind. The great Zhou King smiled and did not say anything. After a while, he said, "Is Long Wu coming?" The great Xia King said indifferently, "What for? I can't enter the 3rd level. There's still hope." The great Zhou King smiled faintly and said, "You're about to enter the 9th level, right? It's still very early." The great Xia King glanced at him. "Who's going to go over to your house?" "Dragon Breaker." The great Zhou King did not avoid it. Zhou Dragon Breaker would go in. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2474, Chapter 2474, Chapter 533, Special Channel 4. Chapter 2474, Chapter 533, Special Channel 4. It's not Zhou Tianyuan. The great Xia king was surprised. Zhou Tianyuan was quite powerful, and he was especially good at time arts. In terms of snatching the nine-leafed sky lotus, Zhou Tianyuan had a higher chance of entering. He did not expect the great Zhou king to let his nephew, Zhou Polong, enter. This was Zhou Tianyuan's son. Even if he got it, he might not give it to the great Zhou king, right? Moreover, he had just advanced, so there was not much hope for him to get it. The great Zhou king chuckled and said, Tianyuan is powerful, that's why we can't go in. Otherwise, we'll be surrounded and killed. Break the dragon and be more agile. It depends on the situation. As he said that, he turned his head to look at Qin Town not far away and said telepathically, Old Qin wants Qin Town to go. This guy, if he can fight, he can fight. The key is that his strength is average and he's a little reckless. I think the danger is not small. The great Xia king also nodded slightly, very quickly, he said, it was this guy who insisted on going. Old Qin told him not to go, but he still insisted on giving Old Qin a chance. If he really gets it, it's actually a good thing. Old Qin is not far from the Daemerge. At this moment, the human races closest to the Daemerge was the great Qin king. The great Qin king himself could not go. His son, Qin Town, wanted to give him a chance. This was normal. Even Qin Hao and Qin Fong had to go this time. The generations of the Qin family had gone all out. No matter what, they had to get the nine-leafed sky lotus. As long as they could get the nine-leafed sky lotus and hand it over to the great Qin king, they could accept any losses. The great Qin manor had also obtained 20 spots, but in reality, there were more people entering. In the special passageway, there were many experts from the great Qin manor fighting for spots. On the human side, people from the other manors, such as the great Zhou king and the great Xia manor, also used the special passageway. Everyone was discussing. At this moment, the experts and geniuses of the smaller clans that they had ignored were fighting and dying. Their blood dyed the sea red. On Su Yu's side, he followed Wolf 2 and floated in the air. When they reached the entrance of the black hole, there were only 5 people left out of the 10 or so people. There were heavy casualties. On the other hand, Su Yu's current strength was average. His main strength was his speed. With a flap of his wings, his speed was not much slower than Wolf 2's. At this moment, even though he had some injuries, his condition was still good. Speed was the key to survival. Those who survived were all extremely fast. For example, the black-tailed black sable had also survived. The other party was very agile and fast. At this moment, his tail was almost broken, but he still survived. And this was only the beginning. He had only just stepped into the passageway. But now, there were numerous corpses below. Some of the corpses had been shattered, while some were still intact. Lang Tu had many wounds on his body as well. He shouted in a low voice, "Go." They had finally reached the entrance of the tunnel. The few of them quickly entered the tunnel. As soon as they entered, Su Yu flapped his wings and disappeared in an instant. A sword light flashed, and a golden leopard beside him was torn apart by the sword light. At this moment, Su Yu, who had avoided it, quickly escaped. Only then did he have time to look at the scene inside the tunnel. This was an incomparably huge passageway that was incomparably wide. At the end of the passageway, 360 doors were faintly discernible. At this moment, there were battles everywhere. And those doors would sometimes suddenly appear in front of a person, which would lead to a battle. Su Yu was completely ignorant of the special passageway. Every door that appeared would be temporarily opened for a moment. A group of people would charge into the door, and the last person to survive would have the chance to occupy the door. The prerequisite was that after all 360 doors had been determined, only then would the outer and inner doors open simultaneously. The ancient city token had a function here, and it could guide the doors to appear in front of him. Those who were powerful could directly guide the doors and take them for themselves, and ordinary people wouldn't dare to take them. Of course, it wasn't a guarantee that one would be able to obtain a slot just because one was powerful. Sometimes, the doors would even take the initiative to attract people to enter. Moreover, those who were equally powerful would be absorbed into the same gate and determine the winner. The winner would get a spot, and the loser. Most of them would die, and a small portion of them would have a chance of escaping. While running, in the distance, Lang Tu shouted, "Yi Fei, don't run around. Let's go together." Su Yu turned his head to look. At that moment, there was only one person beside Lang Tu, the black-tailed black sable. There were more than 30 people, but none of them had entered the door. Most of them had died. If Su Yu did not replace Wing Fei, only Lang Tu and the mystic Martin would be alive. Su Yu stopped for a moment. Very soon, Lang Tu caught up. Lang Tu panted and said, "Be careful. Move away. Do not participate in the battle now. Wait a moment. When the powerhouses have their own doors, find an opportunity to seize one of them." Seeing that Su Yu and Xian Martin were silent, Lang Tu quickly said, "I know that you all want to enter, but the quota isn't that easy to seize. How about this, the three of us work together? If we can seize one, then so be it." Su Yu and Xian Martin thought for a moment and nodded. Lang Tu didn't say anything else. He brought the two of them and quickly avoided the battle in all directions. At this moment, an expert directly used the ancient city token to pull out the door. That was a fellow who was absolutely confident in himself. He directly occupied the door and disappeared inside. Very soon, there were experts who were even more confident, they directly charged in. The door instantly disappeared from where it was. A moment later, the door appeared once more. It was as quiet as ever, but no one appeared. Clearly, the person who had just entered might have died. Of course, there was also the possibility that someone had occupied the door. Only when all 360 doors had been occupied could they be opened. Only then would they know if there were still living people within the door. Su Yu has been quietly observing. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2475, Chapter 2475, Chapter 533, Special Passageway 5. Chapter 2475, Chapter 533, Special Passageway 5. He was Yi Fei and wasn't strong. If he tried to snatch the door now, he would be courting death. He would find an opportunity and find a suitable time to snatch one. As for Lang Tu and Xian Sable, that would depend on their own luck. Su Yu didn't have the mood to care about them. At this moment, a door suddenly appeared. A powerful suction force instantly sucked them into the door. A few powerhouses in the surroundings were also sucked in. The door was like a secret chamber. In the blink of an eye, Su Yu and the others appeared inside. Including the three of them, there were a total of 12 cultivators, all at the Lingyun realm. Lang Tu cursed in a low voice and quickly transmitted his voice to Su Yu and Xianjiao, "Pretend you don't know them. Kill them and then join forces." With that, Lang Tu charged towards a great demon. As for Su Yu, he flapped his wings continuously to avoid being chased by a great demon. There was no need to say too much here as he was already swept in. It was best to kill all the enemies and think about whether or not to take the door. The space inside the door was not big, and there were many people as well. The battle erupted in an instant. Su Yu was very clear-headed. He did not make a move and just dodged. He did not use too much strength. With Yi Fei's strength, he narrowly avoided the pursuit again and again. As for the other places, a bloody battle had already erupted. Lang Tu roared and killed a third-level Lingyun expert with one claw. He was very powerful. At this moment, the other 7th-level Lingyun demons did not say much and did not need to contact him. They all joined forces to attack Lang Tuesday. This 9th-level Lingyun demon wolf had to be killed first. Otherwise, he would have to destroy them one by one. Suyu had been flying unsteadily and avoiding the battle. At this moment, he was observing the scene and also looking at the entrance. At this moment, the entrance was closed and did not open. It seemed that it could only be opened after the victor was decided. Suyu frowned slightly. To decide the victor, was there a need to decide life and death? He really did not know about this. If there was a need to decide life and death. He took a look at the wolf picture. Then it would not be too good for the three of us to be together. Only one could survive at a time. Or could it be that this was Wolf 2's plan? He and the mystic Martin were weak, but they could act as human heads. If they were involved, they could reduce their opponents by 2 because they were weak. As for Wolf 2 protecting them, Suyu didn't take it seriously. What a joke, they weren't familiar with each other. They came in together to get a spot. Why were they protecting them? Just as he was thinking, Lang Tu roared and killed another demonic beast with his claws. At this moment, a second head grew out. Lang Tu roared, Yifei, Xian Sable, come and help. Out of the 12 people, there were 9 other people besides the 3 of them. In the blink of an eye, 3 were dead and 6 more were left. Among them, 5 had gone to surround and kill Lang Tuesday. Suyu's eyes flickered, but he didn't say anything more. He quickly ran over to Xian Martin's side and joined hands with Xian Martin to deal with the only person who hadn't gone to surround and kill Wolf Tuesday. The battlefield was divided into 2 parts. Both sides didn't say anything more. It was a battle. Wounds gradually appeared on Suyu's body. At the last moment, he let out an explosive roar and slashed with his wings. With a poochie sound, he killed the wild dog on the spot. He was so tired that he was panting. Xian Diao was also heavily injured. At this moment, Lang Tu was still very powerful. He had already killed 3 people. The remaining 2 people were extremely desperate and were fleeing in all directions. Lang Tu's body was also covered in wounds. His head was a little broken as he roared, surround and kill them. Xian Jiao ignored him and sent a voice transmission to Suyu, Yifei, is there only one person left in this place before we can open it again? Suyu was not sure either. Because there were fewer people who took the special passageway, there were even fewer who survived. Those who survived would rarely reveal the news to the outside world. I'm not sure. Xian Martin's small eyes rolled as he sent a voice transmission, be careful. Lang Tu might not have good intentions. We don't know this place as well as he does. He might have participated once or a few times. Suyu also thought so. Lang Tu might not be here for the first time. Of course, he might not have been able to obtain a spot in the past. Although he said so, at this moment, the remaining 2 experts also charged towards them in despair. This damned place was too small. If they were dragged in and encountered experts, there was nowhere to run. They could only fight. Suyu quickly fled towards Lang Tuesday. At this moment, only Lang Tu could deal with them. After a few minutes, there were only 2 people left in the entire door. Suyu and Lang Tu. Suyu was panting and his body was covered in wounds. As for Lang Tu, he was also panting. When he saw Suyu looking at him vigilantly, Lang Tu smiled and said, Yifei, don't look at me like that. It's fine, I won't kill you. When the other doors are confirmed, the inner doors will open. I'll go in, you just need to rest and recuperate. You're still young, it won't be too late to come back next time. Suyu looked at him silently. Did he really think that he didn't understand anything? He somewhat understood what Wolf 2 meant. There were still 2 people alive, so the doors wouldn't open again. They wouldn't attract people in. At the last moment, perhaps they would need to kill him to determine the ownership of the quotas. Thinking of this, Suyu panted and said, "Brother Wolf 2, PM, just curious about one thing. If there are 2 people alive, then the doors won't attract people in. Doesn't that mean that if the 2 brothers work together to enter a door, they'll definitely be able to seize a quota?" As he said that, Suyu smiled and said, "Or is it that only one can survive in the end?" Therefore, many people actually knew about it, but they didn't say it. If they said it, everyone knew about it. How would they get people to act together with them? "Brother Lang 2, are you planning to raise me to another portal and kill me after the spot is confirmed?" But there are quite a number of people who have the same thoughts as Brother Lang Tuesday. If they all do this and the spot isn't confirmed, would they continue to drag it out? You're tuning into the Han Lee's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2476, Chapter 2476, Chapter 533, Special Channel 6. Chapter 2476, Chapter 533, Special Channel 6. Lang Tu gave him a strange look. "Fei, you've misunderstood. There's no need for that. Just wait for an hour. You'll be guarding the door and the quota will be confirmed." Suyu smiled. "Is that so? Does it mean that you'll kill me after an hour?" Lang Tu's eyes were green as he looked at Suyu and said in a low voice, "Brother Fei has really misunderstood. If you don't believe me, you can wait and see. Then, you can go out." Suyu smiled. "Alright, I'll wait and see then. When you want to kill me later, I'll kill you first. After I kill you, I'll pretend to be you again." Fei is too weak and it's not suitable for him to take the spot. Lang Tu is a sly old fox, so it's more believable for him to take the spot. 3-headed demon wolf bloodline. Suyu muttered to himself. It was a pretty good bloodline. At the 9th level of Lingyun, his strength wasn't weak either. This special passageway slot didn't seem that difficult to obtain. If he was lucky and knew some rules, there would be hope even if he soared into the sky. No wonder countless people would come every time to gamble their luck. An hour passed very quickly. At this moment, Lang Tu walked towards the injured Suyu. Suyu looked at him, and Lang Tu also looked at Suyu. He said calmly, "You've already guessed it, so there's no need to say anything more. Thank you, Brother Fei, for helping me stall for an hour. Now, most of the slots should be confirmed, and all the strong ones have a place to go. After killing Brother Fei, the portal will continue to attract other people to enter. After 3 times, the quota will be officially confirmed. Brother Fei, you're tired." Suyu understood and smiled. "My purpose is to give you time to recuperate. To allow you to recover some of your injuries." Lang Tu laughed. The injured Ling Yun was at level 1 and his wings were broken. For a weak clan like the Iron-Winged Bird, it would be too easy for him to kill someone at level 9 of Ling Yun. An hour of recovery was enough for him to recover a lot. Lang Tu did not say anything more. He had to kill Fei. If he did not kill him, the 2 of them would be crushed to death by the door after an hour. Suyu did not know this, but he knew it. He slapped down with his claw, but Suyu had a look of regret on his face. "I knew it. There is no love without a reason. As expected, I knew it. How could there be such a good person who was not familiar with you and was still protecting you?" This was what the relationship was all about. He didn't say anything else. Wolf 2 was a good specimen. Not bad. A book appeared in front of Wolf Tuesday. 3-headed demonic wolf clan. I think I have this page. Suyu quickly flipped the page and soon, a page appeared. It was the page that had been dripped with the blood essence of the 3-headed demonic wolf. You smiled and looked at Wolf Tuesday. "Come in." Wolf 2 was first puzzled, then shocked, and then terrified. At this moment, an extremely powerful three-headed demonic wolf appeared on the page. It was Sun and Moon. It bit down at him. Its huge mouth swallowed him in one bite. Without a sound, the shadow of the Sun and Moon demonic wolf disappeared, along with Wolf Tuesday. A line of words appeared on Su Yu's page. Three-headed demon wolf clan, mixed, 9th level Ling Yun. Mixed blood. Su Yu smiled and instantly turned into a demon wolf. His willpower entered the page. At this moment, the memories of the past appeared in his mind. It was as if he had returned to the past of Lang Tuesday. At this moment, the door opened once again and sucked in the next batch of candidates. After 3 times, the person who survived would become the holder of the quota. Su Yu quickly learned that the battle would be settled within an hour. Otherwise, everyone would be crushed to death by the door. This was what Wolf 2 knew. The quota, looks like it's mine. He could still harvest it. Su Yu laughed. Most of the corpses from before had been eaten by Wolf Tuesday. As for the rest, he would collect the corpses and record the civilization. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories. Chapter 2477, Chapter 2477, Chapter 534 Su Yu's Shocking Discovery L. Chapter 2477, Chapter 534 Su Yu's Shocking Discovery L. After killing the wolf picture, the seal in the small door was broken. At this moment, outsiders could directly kill their way in, or they could wait for the door to take the initiative to absorb people into it. Of course, Su Yu could also walk out, go to other doors, and wait for an opportunity. Su Yu was not in a hurry, slowly comprehending everything about the wolf picture. The picture book in his hand was faintly discernible. It was not too perfect, and there were still many things that Su Yu needed to fill in bit by bit. Su Yu realized that this was a lot of work. The wolf picture was still fine, and the complete corpse had been integrated into the picture book, but there were still some things that were missing. For example, the cultivation techniques of this clan, starting from the basic cultivation techniques, all needed to be collected by Su Yu, including the original version and the converted human version. At this moment, Su Yu had many thoughts in his mind. The golden atlas in his mind. Now, he was somewhat certain that this should be the treasure of the previous Time Master. Previously, he had thought that it was a divine text, but now, it might not be a divine text. It might be a weapon. Of course, how he obtained it needed to be verified. Another point was that this golden atlas had shattered non-human divine texts. Did that mean that the previous Time Master was actually a human? Old Turtle had told him before. There were 2 guesses as to the identity of the Time Master. First, it was the ancient human emperor. Second, it was the owner of the tombstone. Needless to say, the human emperor, who was the owner of the tombstone. Until now, no one had mentioned this point. All they knew was that this person was probably the leader of the civilization masters. When the civilization was in ruins, after the other party died, countless civilization masters created the tombstone for him. They buried him somewhere, and from then on, the multi-god text became the final word. The owner of the tombstone must be from the multi-god text department. As for the human emperor, this was not clear. Su Yu thought about this while waiting for others to step in. However, it seemed that no one took the initiative to step in. They were either afraid or worried that there was danger inside. Just as Su Yu was replacing the wolf picture. In the huge tunnel, 360 doors were constantly being robbed by people. They were constantly changing owners and falling down. This had become the norm. There were even cases of the sun and moon falling down. That was the phenomenon of the sun and moon being killed. Tens of thousands of people were fighting for the spots. Before they even entered the tunnel, more than half of them had died. When they entered the tunnel, the fighting continued. At this moment, the number of living beings in the entire tunnel had actually decreased by a lot. There were only a few thousand of them. It was a narrow escape. This was the battle for the spots. The large clans had released 360 unstable spots. Every 10 years, countless experts and geniuses from the small clans would go forward to die one after another. Time and time again, generation after generation, they were also trying to weaken the strength of the small clans. Top-tier geniuses had already died here, so how could there still be people rising to prominence? Outside the passageway, there were still some people who didn't enter. They only looked at the corpses floating down, and sighed with mixed emotions. Some of these people were here to send off their friends, some to send off their descendants, and some were the clan's Tao protectors. However, at this moment, looking at the sea of corpses, it was extremely complicated. Generation after generation, generation after generation. It was too difficult for a small clan to rise up. In a corner, Huang Jiao transmitted his voice, "Elder, aren't we going to the special passageway? Are we not going in? Don't be anxious." Huang Jia, who was also empty, did not panic and looked around. He had been looking around for a long time. Very soon, he set his eyes on a place and transmitted his voice, "What's the rush? Wait until these passageways open. The official passageway is safe. Once it opens, we'll go in. We'll go in." Huang Jiao was puzzled, but Huang Jia didn't mind. He said telepathically, "Of course we'll go through the official passage." D. The battle in the special passage was too fierce and inconvenient. At the moment when it officially opens, I'll send you to a passage. It's just a Lingyun realm cultivator, so it's not a big deal. If you kill the other party or send him flying, you'll enter immediately. I'm the same. I'll look for the Tao King's men. He's lost 2 lives. Even if I take his spot, he won't dare to act rashly. If I really attack, I won't be afraid of him. A fellow who had lost 2 lives, why should I be afraid of him? If I want to leave, I'll go through the proper passageway. It's safe. He has been eyeing the Tao King's men for a long time. As for why he chose the immortals and not other races, nonsense. I've offended the heavenly ancient realm, so why should I be afraid of offending the immortals? There was no need for him to offend the other races. Even though he had the tombstone in his hand and everyone was staring at him, it didn't matter whether he offended them or not. Huang Jiao immediately said in a flattering manner, "Elder, you're amazing." That's right. Kong 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 was very pleased. Amazing, right? Spatial beast, do you think you're joking? I instantly shuttled to the entrance of the passageway. Even Invincible couldn't stop me. You've entered, so you probably won't be with me. Be careful. Also, there might be 3 to 5 immortals of similar age who will be together after entering the immortal realm. You should be careful. However, among your peers, even if you don't have the strength of the heaven roll, you still have the strength of the earth roll. You don't have to worry too much. It's really too troublesome. Just use the teleportation talisman to leave. Kong 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 gave a few more instructions. This time, his target wasn't some vessel. He had this one. His target was the 9-leafed heavenly lotus. Others were trying to achieve the 3rd body unity, but he was trying to achieve the 3rd body unity. The main reason was that he had used a coffin plate as a carrier. It was too strong, causing his past body to be a little powerful. In the future, his body would not be powerful enough. His current body was only average, and his strength was not balanced. Consuming the 9-leafed heavenly lotus could solve these problems. With his strength on the Tao manifestation board, he would not be a match for an ordinary invincible person.